And then I said, fancy a finger?
Yes, I do.
What those at home cannot see is I just threw on a packet of Cadbury's fingers.
Cadbury's fingers.
For Mattathias's very eyes.
Cadbury's fingers. The fingers of the butler from Richie Rich.
Yeah. God. Ew.
Surgically removed and cleaned, ready for consumption.
They're not sponsoring us, but if they'd like to, please fucking do. I like your chocolate. So, there is that.
I'm not sure about the business practices, though.
Well, that's true.
From an ethics standpoint.
That's true, but...
From a financial standpoint, I have no ethics.
But do you have a finger?
I love a finger.
Go on, slip that in your mouth and introduce yourself. Ladies and gentlemen, my name is Jonathan.
My name is Matthew. I've got a finger in my mouth, Watson, and it feels good.
No. You're listening to Big Damn Cast, episode 136, because...
136!
You know, someone's got to count.
We just can't stop ourselves.
Literally. It's an addiction. Much like Cadbury's fingers. They're not sponsoring us, but I hope they do. We've got a plethora of things to talk about. You may have noticed from the picture and the title of this that we're finally getting round to following up on something y'all have requested ever since we did our top 10 classic Doctor Who episode last autumn.
Yep.
So we're getting round to it. Don't ye worry. The two people who, lifelong Doctor Who fans, reluctantly talking about Doctor Who are going to do it so much that it's the title of the goddamn episode.
Biscuits.
But we've also got some news, pop culture nonsense, and your emails to contend with.
Yeah.
So ladies and gentlemen, what are we waiting for? Death.
Yes. the inevitable entropic heat death of the universe. But before then,
Yeah.
I've got a little palette of DC TV and movie news for you, Cocker.
What the
Some of which
heck?
you will definitely know. Some of which you may not know.
What?
First off, the biggest one, of course, the Suicide Squad sequel / spin-off.
Yeah, I think
Harley Quinn vehicle.
They're officially referring to it as a spin-off.
Yes.
Because I think what they're doing here is they're just going to do a series of films where Harley's in them.
Yes.
So eventually they can be like, here's a series
of Harley films.
Yeah.
Why not? Why
I
not?
can't wait for them to actually have Harley Quinn in them, though. That's going to be great.
Well, we did get our first look at Birds of Prey. It's now filming. To give it its full title, Birds of Prey and the Fantabulous Emancipation of One Harley Quinn, which is obviously is going to feature a breaking free of the Joker character, which I think is good for that character. So I'm looking forward to seeing that.
As a fan of the more recent, and by more recent I mean as of a couple of years ago, I've not caught up for a couple of years, iteration of Harley Quinn and her going off on her own solo adventures. I genuinely do like that stuff. She's basically female Deadpool, and I don't mean that in a bad way. I'm not saying she's Lady Deadpool. That would confuse things. But the point is...
Or even Gwenpool.
Who I'm really starting to like. She's the tutorial-y / tells you stuff character in Lego Marvel Superheroes 2, and I'm like, God damn it, you're winning me over.
Oh, that's neat.
Gwenpool's winning me over.
I've not read any Gwenpool, so I've no idea what she's like.
I'm going to have to dip in. It's one of those where, like, if you want the collected Gwenpool, you've got to buy several different comic book series where she pops up in them. And then the occasional thingies. But I do like the fact that Harley kind of became her own thing. Wacky adventures, Looney Tunes with violence, and it was like, okay, this is kind of interesting. It's a shame that the movie universe isn't going to explore the period where we all fell in love with Harley at all. Like, her as a villain who... Like, at first, you know, we're kind of like, yeah, she's the Joker's sidekick and she's freaking great. And look at her. Oh my God, she teams up with Poison Ivy. This is wonderful. Hang on, is that a hint that something horrible's happening, like, in their relationship behind the scene? Okay, And that's where we all fell in love with her. And then we got sucked in and became invested in her life and her character. And that's when we all started to really root for this character because we're like, girl, get out of there.
Get out of that relationship.
Or, girl... You need to start smacking him back.
Well,
you're both bad guys, and like we would be fine with you beating the shit out of the Joker.
It seems like we're going to go that route with this film, at least. Hence the title.
Okay. So hopefully they don't skim over it too much, because again, not to make light of abuse, because of course not. But these are Looney Tunes. These are cartoon characters.
Yeah.
You can, and they're super villains in a hyper stylized, hyper realistic.
Yeah.
World.
Absolutely.
So it would be cool to see some Harley and Joker and Harley versus Joker kind of thing.
I would pay good money to see Margot Robbie kick Jared Leto's ass.
Because the thing about Harley, she's so endearing. We talked about this in the very first episode of Big Damn Cast, which was called The Problem with Harley Quinn. I'll just give it its full title, Birds of Prey, and the Fantabulous Problem with Harley Quinn. Is that Harley's compelling because she's tragic.
Yes.
But she's also a great Batman villain in her own right. And you can tell so many different kinds of stories with her.
Yeah, true.
Some very empowering, some really upsetting, and some that are just flat out supervillain, superhero like antics. Like, you could do so many things with her. And I hope the films don't skip over that, because Suicide Squad kind of did. Like, in Suicide Squad, there was no indication that their relationship was an abusive one, aside from her quote unquote origin story in the film.
Yeah, well, yeah, I think that was a pretty big in
oh yeah, but then when they show them like on the town and as criminal, like they're having a ball, and his entire thing of her is that he's infatuated with her and he misses her, which is very un-Joker.
Yeah,
what we see of them in every other medium. So it's like, I hope they don't skim over some of these compelling things, but at the same time, if they go in their own direction, fine, whatever. You're talking to a guy who hates Suicide Squad, but kind of dug her look.
Speaking of looks, have you seen the picture that Margot Robbie tweeted out
of her blowing a kiss to camera, like pouting lips?
I really prefer this costume over the Daddy's Little Monster stuff. It's just
fair dues.
It just looks more. It looks more like she's dressed herself for fun rather than she's been dressed by
David Ayer's costume
department. Yeah.
I mean, I do hope to see, because again, something I did like about that one is at least it hinted at the red and black kind of thing. I do hope we get to see some of her colour scheme in there.
I can see her getting away from that though, if she's getting away from the Joker.
Oh, sure, but yeah. I mean, at the same time, I still want to see at least a sequence where she's in the black and red, because we see a little flash in the montage in Suicide Squad of a homage to the Alex Ross painting of them dancing, and it's like, it doesn't look great in that shot, but I think that's also because we're looking at tattooed like Lil Wayne Joker. But we're looking at Lil Wayne Joker.
I also think
with his grill and his tats and everything in a tux, and it just doesn't look right.
It might not be something that translates well to film, so maybe it's for the best. But we do get the very, very, very briefest of looks in this little teaser at Mary Elizabeth Winstead's Huntress, Ewan McGregor's Black Mask, who is conspicuously not wearing a black mask,
but shades in one shot.
Yes, true.
So they're like the eye holes of a skull, so that's the black mask. He better have a fucking black skull mask on before the end of the movie. Yeah,
I think he probably will. Janae Smollett-Bell's Black Canary.
Okay.
Rosie Perez's Renee Montoya. Chris Messina's Victor Zsasz.
Is that how he's playing?
Yeah.
Okay.
And Ellie J. Basco's Cassandra Cain, a.k.a. Orphan, a.k.a.
One Batgirl. Yeah, one of the Batgirls. The one who looks like the mystery of the Batwoman with the blank mask and
the No Man's Land Batgirl.
Yeah.
That's where she's first introduced, isn't it, I think?
Yes. Well, yeah, because she gets her own minis and they don't explore the character in full. It's all like from other people's POV. It's like, who the fuck is this?
Yeah. Isn't Huntress running around as Batgirl for a bit in No Man's Land?
Yes. There's God. I mean, you can see behind me. I've got most of it.
I've read the.
I'm so confused by a lot of it.
I've read the first volume and a half, and I gave up during the second volume because I'm like, this is.
I just started skipping the Azrael and the Nightwing stuff.
I don't even mind the Azrael stuff so much. It's just not good. A lot of it is just not good.
It's all making you wait for the Joker and Harley stuff toward the end, where it suddenly gets dramatic and scary again.
Maybe I'll give it
with the Sarah Essen stuff.
Maybe I'll give it another go. It just, there's a lot of it. There's a lot of it to wade through. It takes a lot to cross No Man's Land. So Aquaman's now the highest grossing DC movie of all time.
I'm filled with such weird joy.
I know,
at that
right?
Thought. It's a terrible movie, but my God.
I wouldn't go so far as to say it was terrible.
Oh, when you hold it up to the others in their canon currently, it's definitely second. If you're looking at the DCEU, it's definitely the second best of the films.
I mean, Venom's terrible. Like, Batman v Superman is terrible. Aquaman's just...
Batman v Superman's insulting.
Aquaman's fine. It's okay. I mean, it's got problems.
Redheads, am I right? What does that mean? Why is that the line at this moment?
I don't know.
What does this tell us about your character?
I don't know. Doesn't matter.
There's no journey in it. It's so annoying, but again, as we said the other week, it is so much fun.
It's so much fun.
It is so much fun.
The film wins you over by sheer force of personality. Well, I say force of personality, amount of personality.
Yes.
Yeah, it's there's a lot of it.
There are comic book movies that rely on being more ridiculous and owning it in recent years that do it so much better. A good chunk of the MCU does it and is completely fine and happy with it. You look at the Ant-Man movies, you look at the Guardians films, like they own their bonkers like elements.
Aquaman's a little messier than
Wonder Woman
your
does.
MCU offerings, but it does.
Wonder Woman
has that
offers
same
some of the
feeling.
far-fetched elements. Owns up because you're like Chris Pine going like, "So wait, you're all ladies and you all do this that, and the other," and they're just like, "Yeah." He's like, "Okay." Just accept it. That's fine. That's okay. It's like, yeah, well done. That's how you should do this. Don't skirt around it. Don't have everyone dressed in black leather and get their names in the media and all this shit. Like, own it. Own it. Octopus playing the drums. Own it.
But of course, with it being so successful, a sequel's been ordered, and Warner Brothers are already approaching James Wan for a sequel. James Wan, on the other hand, has said, "I'm still waiting for the right script, so non-committal, but I would bank on it that James Wan is going to make another Aquaman." And
if not director, I guarantee he'll be
involved as a producer.
He'll come up with the story because he'll want to steer it in the right direction.
Yeah,
and he'll exec produce it.
So so that the future is bright for the DCEU for once.
Yeah,
because we've also got Patty Jenkins talking about already wanting to do a Wonder Woman 3.
They finished it. It's all wrapped and they're still working on
They
post.
just to move it around in the schedule, so
it's coming out next year instead of this year.
Yes,
which sucks because I'd want to see that.
But she's
or
talking
at least
about
a teaser trailer to give me a hint of what Kristen Wiig's going to be like and stuff.
Yes, I'm intrigued by that. But she's already talking about Wonder Woman 3, which again has not been confirmed yet. But she's pushing for a present day set Wonder Woman 3.
I'd be down with that because then her trilogy will be set in World War One, the 80s, and then the 2020s. Like that would be great.
It's just a nice spacing. So she's looking at scripts for that at the moment.
Yeah. Oh, so some have already been written or like discussions.
I think she's working it out. So, but that's not confirmed, but probably gonna happen. Probably gonna get Wonder Woman 3.
I want Wonder Woman 3, and I want Patty Jenkins to direct it, so she can go, "Hey, everybody, here's my trilogy."
Yeah.
Boom, mic drop.
She was
and
also...
then Gal Gadot step down and go, "Yeah, I'm happy with that. That's the trilogy.
We're done.
And then everyone goes, "Hey, do you remember that time when there were 3 amazing Wonder Woman movies?" That's all I want. That's all I want. I want Wonder Woman to be up there with Superman, Batman, and Spider-Man as, "Oh my god, they did that trilogy. Do you remember? It was so good."
It was, yeah.
Because she deserves it. She's freaking Diana.
Of the mascara.
Of the mascara.
We've also got... she was also asked about future team-up movies. Whether Patty Jenkins would want to do a Justice League. To which she responded, "Well, it's not really my thing. I prefer solo stuff. Those movies can be great when they're done well, but I'm more interested in seeing an Aquaman 2 or a Flash or doing another Wonder Woman." So
fair enough.
I don't think there are any plans for a proper Justice League follow-up.
Kevin Smith revealed this week on Fat Man Beyond that he spoke with a lot of the team at Pinewood when he was doing a set visit for Star Wars, which J.J. Abrams has politely told him to stop mentioning.
Yeah.
Even though it's known that it was filming at Pinewood and everything. But he said he chatted to some of the effects guys, and a lot of the effects guys that are working on Star Wars Episode 9 worked on Justice League, because Justice League did a chunk of filming at Pinewood.
Yeah.
And apparently, in that building somewhere, and I'm guessing the employees were like, "Fuck it, we'll talk about this," because this version of the movie didn't happen, so whatever. There are storyboards and character concepts by Jim Lee for the overarching story of Justice League 1, 2, and 3. Because originally, what we've always known is what was first announced. It was going to be 2 movies, part 1 and part 2,
shot back to back. And
it was part 1, 2, and 3 originally.
Wow!
Before they settled on part 1 and 2,
they were banking. They were banking on that movie being successful.
Film 1 would have ended with Steppenwolf's defeat and a boom tube opening up, and Darkseid arriving to like collect everything up and all the stuff they'd found.
Okay.
And they have a brief tussle with him and learn about him and like, the fuck. Part 2 would have been them taking the fight to outer space to try and find Darkseid's fleet, or at least his other, like, the rest of his like cabal or what have you, to prevent it as much as they could.
Not happy where you bring the Green Lanterns in.
And in fact, God, what's I gonna say? And part 3 was them returning to Earth, fruitless, to find it in the state it was in the nightmare in BVS, complete with Superman corrupted, and that would have been film 3, and the idea of Apocalypse and Earth merging together. And it's like, you know what? Just on paper, I'm like, I'd love to see that. That'd be really, really cool.
Question being though, if Superman's going into space, if Superman's not going into space, who is?
Oh,
but not Superman.
we're talking Watchtower sort of level shit. Superman.
So
wouldn't,
the only alien is the one who isn't going into space.
Superman wouldn't have joined the final fight in part 1. He would have been resurrected.
Oh, right. Okay.
So, but here's the
All
thing.
right, all right.
They shot Green Lantern stuff for the film we saw.
Yes.
Specifically, do you remember the trailer scene?
Yes.
Thank Jeremy Irons as Alfred. Thank goodness you're here. We'd lost hope or whatever it is. And we all think, oh my god, it's Superman. And then that scene never happened.
That was supposed to be a Green Lantern.
Yeah, they shot it several times. Got that shot several times. One shot of which was using intense high green lighting. And they were doing it in different stages to see if it looked good or if they were going to do it in post. Because the plan was it was going to be a Green Lantern.
But we never got any casting announcement or even rumours, did we really?
Oh no, we wouldn't have met the Green Lantern in part 1. We would have met them in part 2.
Bold.
Yeah.
And ultimately foolish.
Yeah.
So yeah, I don't think we're going to get any more Justice League anytime soon. But Shazam's just around the corner. Wonder Woman 1984 is looking promising from what we know of it.
Have you noticed they've started referring to it more as Wonder Woman 2 in any statements they're making? So I think they're planning on changing the title,
which is fair enough. It is a bit of a weird title.
But I'd give Patty Jenkins a Wonder Woman 3.
Yeah, why not?
It's not a euphemism.
I give her 2 more films. Careful now. I give her 2 more films off the strength of Wonder Woman alone.
Yeah.
Regardless of whether 2 is a good.
Fuck that. I'd give her a Wonder Woman 2 and another DC property. Be like, here you go, tell the story. Like, take your pick. Which other DC character do you want to do a film on, Patty? Go for it. Go for it.
Do you think they should give her the Flash?
Yeah. Oh God, yeah.
I mean, they've already offered it to everyone else. It makes sense.
Look at that beautiful level of optimism and adventurous spirit that Wonder Woman had.
That'd be good for
something that fits the Flash.
Yeah.
And Ezra Miller, while he's a hot ticket, like, get to work on it. Be like, right, Ezra, let's do this. Let's
because they could do that and make him a megastar, but
don't make it Flashpoint. Just make it a straightforward, simple Flash style adventure. Chuck in someone. Don't give us another speedster. Chuck in someone classic. Have like Gorilla Grodd or Captain Cold be the villain, like
Captain
something like
Cold.
that. Have it be fun. Have it be about his
Mirror Master.
Have it be about his relationship. Have it be about the fucking Mirror Master even. The Ballad of Barry Allen. That song by I've got it on my phone. It's the guys who did. Oh God! Hang on. I'll look it up. I've got it on my phone. It's going to take me 2 seconds. Jim's Big Ego. Yeah, they did. They did Stress.
Yeah.
Addicted to stress. That's the way that I get things done. They did a song called "The Ballad of Barry Allen," which is basically about how it's difficult to exist when you feel like everyone else around you, even though they can't help it, is going at a crawl.
Yes.
And it's like, tell that story.
Yes, please.
Like, tell the story of how he deals with being the Flash. And deal with it on a more fantastical level than the CW series. The CW series is the superhero life balancing thing.
Yes.
In this version, make it be about what happens. Like, so they touch on it with Quicksilver in the X-Men films. What happens when, like, you feel like you're not moving anywhere? You feel like you're being held back by everyone, even though they can't help it.
Yeah.
And life just, you're thinking a million miles an hour. It'd be a character piece, and it'd be phenomenal. And Patty Jenkins would do it so much justice. League.
Very nice.
Ah!
Very nice. But that's not all for DC, because that's their movie stuff. But they also got a lot of TV stuff going on.
With such Marvel shills.
Such Marvel shills.
Marvel, the biggest shills.
So Titans has hit Netflix. I've not watched it yet.
I've watched a series dissection.
I've heard some pretty good things about it. I'm 3 episodes into Punisher, so when I'm done with Punisher, I'm going to start on Titans, I think.
If you're looking forward to watching a show about, angry Dick Grayson, and his superpowered chums, apparently that's kind of the extent of the tone of it all.
I don't hate the idea. It looks from what I've seen of it since that initial trailer, it looks like it might tonally be a bit closer to what I'm interested in than it was in that initial trailer. But we'll see.
Do you know who the main series antagonist is? Because that made me go, huh?
It's fucking
So could you just lean that forward a little bit?
Oh, yeah, sure.
Just fall over. There we go.
No, who is it?
Do you want to know?
I have been told, but
You find
I
it
can't
out in
remember.
Ep 1, so
Yeah,
it's not Trigon.
Oh, okay, yeah.
But
Right.
it doesn't delve into the supernatural horror stuff too much until the end of the series.
But with Raven, you kind of have to. You have to go that
Yeah.
direction. So yeah. If
like,
you're gonna do Raven.
there's sort of an element of she's on the run from.
Yeah. Well, I got that
her
from the
father.
trailers. Like it's like Raven being on the run is the thing. So yeah, I'm gonna check out Titans at some point.
Okay, I'll be interested to know your thoughts, because from what I know of it, I think there's stuff that you'll go, yeah, but I think there's stuff where you'll go, oh, fucking wasted opportunity. So
I'm hoping there's more of the
curious
former
to
than the
see.
latter, though.
Yeah.
Hopefully, I'm expecting to be.
And it ends on a
Excellent.
cliffhanger, so.
Well, we'll definitely get a second season, but we'll come to that in a sec.
And the Doom Patrol show up in it.
Yes, which brings me to my next point. There's a little teaser out there for Brendan Fraser's Robot Man. And it's the
Who
tiniest
sort of
of
looks like
teasers.
Happy Megabyte from Reboot.
Have you seen this?
Megabyte was a happy chap.
Have you seen this tiny little teaser?
Let's have a little
A
look.
tiny little sneak peek of Cliff Steele in Doom Patrol.
A human brain trapped within a metallic body.
Yes.
Robot Man struggles to regain his humanity.
Hopefully you'll see you still, but you.
Dalton.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Okay.
So, those who don't know the
that's
story...
odd. That's
Yes,
really odd.
It's
but...
odd, but that series looks odd. Like, did you see the one they put out around Christmas? With
Oh,
them
the
all taking
announcement
Christmas
teaser is
photo?
that it's them standing in a line and
That
looking
was-
really uncomfortable as a picture's taken of them.
That was
all.
quite fun.
I get a sense
and-
we're going to see quite a bit of human Brendan Fraser as well. Like he's not
I would
just
imagine
lending,
you see some flashbacks.
he's not just lending his voice and shooting a scene. Like
Yeah.
we're going to see quite a few scenes.
Yeah, for those of you who don't know who Robot Man is, he is former
Not to be
racing
confused
driver.
with Robert Man.
No,
Different character altogether.
Robot Man.
Robert Man is a man bitten by a radioactive man called Robert.
Yes.
Who isn't a robot himself, but starts to sort of show off and
has the
imbibe
abilities
the
of a
powers
robot.
robot.
Yeah.
Yeah, of a genetically enhanced robot.
Fucking hell. So Robot Man is a racing driver. Cliff Steele is in a horrifying accident and is essentially killed, but his brain is saved and put into a robot body. Who in the comics is actually created by Professor Will Magnus, who is also the creator of the Metal Men.
Yes, I was going to say, I'm picturing him surrounded by several multicoloured metallic individuals.
Yes, who are rubbish. like one of those DC Comics teams characters. I've been like, what?
Who's the red one with like the needly nose?
Oh,
Like
Summit.
or other. Because he was the
Zinc.
last thing in the last ever DC, because they've stopped doing them now, the DC Collectibles DC Universe figures. The last big wave was a Build-A-Figure wave for a Bane, like a Nightfall Bane, who was really chunky.
Oh yeah.
And it was a really great Bane figure, and Robin was one of the figures in the wave and stuff. But that guy was the peg warmer.
Yes.
To the point where you imagine a bunch of people were probably just stealing the part from the figure because they're like, we don't want him.
Believe that.
It's so strange. Yeah, there was hundreds of him in Forbidden Planet at one point. This is 6-7 years ago. It was just oh god, nobody wants this weedy little metal man. Nobody wants this weedy little metal man, dirty little bugger. Even though he's got pains, nobody fucking wants him. Oh.
Apparently, Barry Sonnenfeld is in talks with Warner Brothers to do a Metal Men movie.
I wouldn't hate that. Sonnenfeld makes some really interesting stuff. Most recently, Lemony Snicket's a series of unfortunate events.
Yeah.
He brought us Men in Black, so there are ways to tell these stories.
He's Led, I think, is the red one.
He's like a weedly little dude with a
yeah,
needle nose.
gold, lead, iron.
Everyone who doesn't know these characters is like,
no,
you're
it's
just
Mercury.
listing metals.
No,
they're
it's Mercury.
Men.
It's Mercury.
They're men made of metal,
Because Platinum's the girl one.
and you can tell they were created in the earlier days of comics because one of them's main trait is they're the girl one.
62, Silver Age.
There you
Prime
go.
Silver Age time.
There you go.
But anyway, so yeah, we got
She's the girl one.
we got a little bit of Doom Patrol, and we've also, again, like I said before, we are getting a second series of Titans because some casting calls have gone out for it.
Oh, snap wiggles.
Casting calls for Deathstroke, Ravager,
Oh.
and Jericho.
Okay. Deathstroke felt inevitable that they were going to get around to that at some point.
Time to that Deathstroke. Also, probably indicates they've kind of given up on doing Deathstroke in the DC movies.
I don't know.
Anytime soon, anyway.
The finale of Titans, without giving too much away, does feature some prominent characters that they normally hold back on.
Yes,
albeit not
in
full-blown dialogue.
Of course,
but they're there on screen. So it's,
I do remember
I think
that,
the DC app's taking a bit more liberties than it allows its other media. So it's possible that they're not putting Deathstroke on the backbench of the movies as of yet. But you never know. Because this will be the third live-action Deathstroke in 5 years. If the Arrowverse version and everything, and Joe Manganiello's cameo at the end credits of Justice League set up for a film that's never going to fucking happen.
Never going to happen.
Oh, God. We should start a league of our own. I'm Lex Luthor.
But Zack Snyder's coming back.
To the DC universe?
No, to movies.
Oh, good. That's good. Not a fan of his work, but that's good.
He's back on the horse. I'm a fan of some of his work. He's back on the horse.
I like Watchmen. I think 300 is stylized. Day of the Dead remake is pretty damn solid.
He has revealed
his penis
that Netflix have lifted this off Warner Brothers.
Oh,
so Warner Brothers have passed the project on to Netflix for a rumored $90 million.
Fudge. It's got to be a big IP then, right?
Nope.
Oh,
Army of the Dead.
Oh, it's a follow-on of the Dead series?
I doubt it. It is apparently set amid a zombie outbreak in Las Vegas, during which a man assembles a group of mercenaries to take the ultimate gamble, venturing into the quarantine zone to pull off the greatest heist ever attempted.
Why are you pulling off a heist in the zombie apocalypse? What could money possibly buy you in the zombie apocalypse?
But this is from an interview with the Hollywood Reporter.
Priorities.
The Hollywood Reporter got the exclusive on this, and Snyder says there are no handcuffs on me at all with this one. Which is an interesting phrase to use. I thought this was a good palate cleanser to really dig in with both hands and make something fun and epic and crazy and bonkers in the best possible way. Apparently he still loves the comic book movies of his past, but he's excited about going back to his Dawn of the Dead roots.
Oh, so that's him kind of confirming then he's not involved with the DC work from now on.
He says, I love to honour canon and the works of art. Okay, but this is the... I'm just going to leave that one alone. But this is the opportunity to find a purely joyful way to express myself through a genre. It will be the most kick-ass, self-aware, but not in a wink-to-the-camera way, balls-to-the-wall zombie freak show that anyone has ever seen. No one's ever let me completely loose. Like this. Yeah.
It's going to be terrible, then.
Yeah. I've seen Sucker Punch, Zach.
Yeah.
People have let you completely loose before. It was called Sucker Punch, and it fucking sucked.
Zack Snyder would make a fantastic director of photography.
Well, actually, he also says in that same interview with
just do that, Zach. Reporter, don't direct films. Be the director of photography. Like, be the guy who establishes the colour, the shot setups, the visual side exclusively.
He also told the Hollywood Reporter that he spent the last few years reconnecting with photography, noting his last few films had been of such scope they'd pushed him away from the camera. Maybe just DP it, Zach. Just DP it.
Just DP now. Just be DP. You'd be an amazing DP. One thing you do uniquely and very much with your own voice, and one that works a lot of the time, is your visuals. Your storytelling is what's shit. So, focus on just the visuals, Zach. Oh, God.
Yeah. So, that's happening. Zack Snyder's coming back to movies.
Yay but for him, and yay for people who enjoy his stuff, but also... everything he's just said makes me think, no, maybe go and do another thing now, please. Then again, I don't have to watch Army of the Dead.
Well, very true.
That's
it's on Netflix, so it's even less likely to come up. But yeah, well, we should round up some Netflix stuff and do go up some Netflix originals. There's some stuff on there I'm quite intriguing to watch.
We should do a Romero of the Dead marathon.
Yes.
Brains.
No, that's Return of the Living Dead.
Which is not his.
No.
Yeah. Return of the Living Dead's the one with the charred up corpse, the zombie with the skeleton face.
Yeah.
Oh, God,
and send more paramedics.
So which one's the official Romero ones in that series? Then?
Night of the Living Dead,
Which I've got.
Day
Which
of the
is
Dead,
amazing.
Night of the Living Dead, Dawn of the Dead,
Yeah.
Day of the Dead,
Yeah.
and then it goes off on one.
And then he goes off and makes them with the other studios.
Yeah, Land of the Dead,
Like,
Diary of the Dead,
Diary of the Dead.
Survival of the Dead, I want to say.
Because like 3 of them are in like the last 10 years, aren't they?
Yeah. He was chugging away on them in his later years.
I suppose it's because smaller budget studios are like, we'd fucking love to work with you.
Yeah.
It's like, great, I've got a story, let's do it.
Let me just double check what the Night of the Living Dead, because he's also Night of the Living Dead has been remade and recut and re-released. Is that?
Yeah.
Because basically the whole thing of Return of the Living Dead came from one of the producers on Night of the Living Dead retained some of the rights.
So the MGM Child's Play thing.
Yeah.
It's the Never Say Never.
Yeah.
Of zombie films.
So he went off and made
like, yeah, this technically is a sequel, but it's got nothing to do with the rest of it, and the creative force behind it has fuck all to do with it.
Yeah.
But it's a sequel, guys.
So he went off and made Return of the Living Dead and spawned that whole thing. Although that first Return of the Living Dead movie is fucking great. It's really good. And then that spawned its own set of things. And then Romero went off and made his own sequels, which became what we know now. But that original what's his name, producer, then went off and did like the recolorized version, one that had
they re-released Night of the Living Dead in colour, didn't they? It was like,
yeah.
Why? It's so much more effective because of the fact that it's black and white. It makes it even more kind of adds a level of airiness to it that time has afforded it, and you know it's great because of that.
Yes. And all that bullshit. But then Romero went off and did his films, his sort of sequel films, which are like, that was all of them. Night of the Living Dead, Dawn of the Dead, Day of the Dead, Land of the Dead, Diary of the Dead, and Survival of the Dead. With those last two being, I think they were like tangentially related.
Yeah, Diary of the Dead was found footage as well.
Yeah,
if I recall.
yeah.
Because everyone was like, really? He's doing what? He's just jumping on the trend? Because it was like, 2007, something like that?
2005 was Land of the Dead.
Yeah.
And that was sort of riding the new wave of horror, and that's when zombies came back into the mainstream in a big bad way. In part thanks to Resident Evil.
And also in part due to the Dawn of the Dead remake.
Yes.
The Zack Snyder movie. Bringing it all back together.
Speaking of Resident Evil, apparently the Resident Evil 2 remake is fucking brilliant.
I've seen,
so I think I might crack open the... because I've got the Resident Evil 1 remake.
Yeah, I've got that. Yeah, I was PS Plus about a year or so ago.
And I've been trying to play the original PlayStation version, but I got quite far into it, actually, but it's just... It's really hard. Man. It's really hard to go back to those games. It's not even the load screen. It's just the.
Oh, if you want to dip into it, you can borrow my Resi 2 downstairs.
I've got digital versions of all the PS1 Resis.
Oh, okay, good.
So I've got Resi Director's Cut and Resi 2 and Resi 3.
Okay.
But I haven't.
It's tough.
I've tried.
I find the Resi 1 remake slightly difficult, but only because I think it's the sensibilities of the storytelling. Hey, have you played Kingdom Hearts 3?
No.
Me neither.
Last bit of news before we move on to the main event. So you know that War of the Worlds just coming out later this year from BBC?
Yeah, oh, I'd fucking forgotten about that.
Well, I guess you'd also forgotten about the other one that's coming this year.
No, there were conflicting ones.
The American-produced series. So you've got the War of the Worlds adaptation from the BBC with Ray Spall.
Yeah.
And you got this one, which is set in contemporary Europe, and it's been created and written by Howard Overman, who also created and wrote Misfits and Crazy Head.
The UK Misfits?
Yeah.
Okay.
And apparently Crazy Head's really good, but I've not seen it, but I might check it out because it's on Netflix.
Okay.
So apparently Greg Kinnear was in talks originally, and it's an 8-part series, but the full cast has now come out.
Okay.
Turns out Greg Kinnear's not going to be in it.
So this is the modern day adaptation.
Yeah.
Set in Europe, so it's basically the 2005 movie, but set in Europe.
And when you look at the cast list, oh boy, is it set in Europe. Because we've got Gabriel Byrne and Elizabeth McGovern headlining the series.
Okay.
But they are joined by Leah Drucker, Natasha Little, Daisy Edgar Jones, Stefan Kailad,
Stefan Kayart's play Bandai.
Adele
Square Enix.
Sharif and Guillaume Gueux. With Gilles Coulier directing the first 4 episodes, who directed Cargo, the Netflix film with Matty Freeman, which again, one of those Netflix things I need to get around to. And Richard Clark, who directed Versailles. Don't know what that is. Directing the back half of the series. Pre-production's underway, and it should be airing in late 2019. Overman says, in many ways, H.G. Wells' novel is a cautionary tale of racial superiority and ethnic conflict. It's these themes I wanted to explore more fully in my modern reimagining. I look forward to bringing our bold, fresh and relatable version, inspired by this much-loved story, to a new audience. With a brief description via Hollywood Reporter. In this new take on War of the Worlds, when astronomers detect a transmission from another galaxy, it is definitive proof of intelligent extraterrestrial life. Earth's population waits for further contact with bated breath, but does not have to wait long. Within days, mankind is all but wiped out, with just pockets of humanity are left in an eerily deserted world. As alien ships appear in the sky, these survivors ask a burning question. Who are these attackers, and why are they hell-bent on our destruction?
Okay.
So, sounds like it's Contact.
Yeah, or any other alien / zombie movie,
it's
essentially.
At a certain point...
A pocket of survivors fight back against the alien...
Like, at a certain point, all alien invasion movies...
are the same film.
Are War of the Worlds.
Well, the thing is, the original War of the Worlds and, like, the Jeff Wayne concert version and everything... The reason it's so compelling is it's this terrifying story of humanity being completely fucked.
Yeah. And it
happens over the space of, if I remember correctly, a couple of weeks. Like, it's not a long time.
Like,
There's a few days, because it's like they rally together, like, you know, the Thunder Child and all that stuff. Like, they get it together within days.
Yeah.
And it's the idea behind it is the despair and how futile it is.
Yeah.
Like, they can't fight back. Which something the 2005 modern day adaptation by Steven Spielberg did very well. Yeah. Like, they establish pretty much from the off, tanks does fuck all.
Yeah. And it's not it's like it's what's terrifying about the story in its original and its more closely adapted forms. Or at least faithfully tonally, not necessarily faithfully.
Because again, part of the charm of its original is it's set in, like, 1890 or whatever. So it's this technology described like something that would fit in a sci-fi today.
You're not seeing it from the military fighting back. You're not seeing it from heroes taking the fight to them. You've seen it from ordinary people just caught up in this chaos.
Where the anachronistic nature of the tones of the two things are so... They're so appealing. Again, like the Martian stuff is so... It doesn't feel like it comes out of the same time the book was written. No. It feels like it comes out of the 70s, the 80s, like sci-fi. And it's somehow in this Victorian setting. Like, it's so wonderfully juxtaposed.
That's why I'm really looking forward to the BBC one.
Yeah.
There's been one film adaptation set in the Victorian period. And it's one of the 3 that came out in 2005.
Oh, God, was it Asylum?
No, Asylum did one. In 2005.
Because I imagine War of the Worlds is probably public domain.
It is public domain.
Yeah.
With C. Thomas Howell.
Okay.
And that got a sequel. Because Asylum. No, this was done by, I believe, a British production company called Pendragon Pictures.
Right.
And it is fucking garbage. Remind me to show you some clips once we've finished recording, because... Wow! Oh, have I got some things to show you, Christopher. So yeah.
I mean, I love that story, but how unique can a modern set version really be? The 2005 one, the main reason a lot of people don't like that Spielberg movie, I believe, is because it changes so drastically by being put in modern day.
Oh, the pacing is weird as well.
The pacing is odd, but they don't drastically change the events of the story to fit modern times.
You just see it, because you don't need to.
But maybe that's where some of the frustration comes from, because you watch it and you go, so why isn't this just set in the Victorian era then?
Yeah.
Like,
because they had to shoot it in 70 days.
For real?
Yeah.
For real?
Yeah.
God.
They shot the whole thing in 70 days.
Spielberg
Spielberg can turn around a film really quick, and that film, I've watched
because
it.
he doesn't have chuffer in mind. He knows exactly what he wants to
He
shoot.
knows,
He gets it shot.
He gets the coverage and he gets it done. But
and that whole sequence underground with that like camera thing on the tendril is tense as fuck.
I'm going to have more to say about this later in the year because at the moment I am tracking down different adaptations and spin-offs of War of the Worlds, and I'm going to do something with that later in the year. I'm not sure what form it's going to take exactly, but I'm doing some research, some reading, some watching. I
was going to say we should have some listening to that recent dramatization.
Oh, that is like a more full cast version of the Jeff Wayne.
Yeah, the one with Michael Sheen and Taron Egerton and stuff.
It's an Audible exclusive, so I might have subscriptions lapsed. I might have to actually pay for Audible for a bit.
Or just like get another email address and register for a free trial.
Shh, don't tell anyone. I've already got like 4 books on Audible, so I wouldn't mind subscribing again.
Get Scratchman. I didn't realise there was an audiobook of Scratchman, and it is read by Tom Baker. And I'm like, God damn it, I want it now.
I lost the Stephen. I got my first copyright strike on my personal channel.
For real?
Yeah, because I did some of those short story readings, and I got a copyright strike and a takedown from Stephen King for the Stephen King one.
Wait, what?
Yeah, because I just read the whole short story, so it's dodgy copyright wise.
Okay, wait. When you say take, so the video's taken, did you get a strike on your channel?
Oh yeah, I got a strike on my channel.
Fuck.
Yeah.
I suppose you can't dispute it.
Right? I get it. Yeah, that's like it's fine. I mean, I'm not.
Hang on. Here's a question: did you monetize it?
No.
Right. Well, then why are you getting a strike? You're not earning money from it.
It's not about monetization.
I
it's
suppose
about
that's true.
It's about DMCA.
Yeah.
I get it. Like
I'm just so used to other places doing it just to try and leech the money.
No, I totally get it. It's a legit claim. Like I'm only.
In fact, you know what? It makes more sense that they don't strike your channel, but they just copyright claim the video and then run ads on it. That would make more sense because then they're profiting from you're doing a reading.
It's by far the most viewed video on my channel of recent years. But yeah, I mean, I get it totally. It's just a little frustrating.
It is, yeah.
But it's fine. It's like it's not copyright material. So I think I'm gonna do some. I'm gonna do some more public domain stuff. Maybe some more Lovecraft.
A way around it is maybe if you do, even if you don't do for certain artists and stuff that you think that might be a problem, do extracts.
Yeah, I'm going to do some extracts as well.
And open up a Vimeo and put the videos that go down on the Vimeo because Vimeo won't give a shit.
No, Vimeo do not give a fuck. But anyway, that's news. That's news. That's our big news one. How far are we in? We are 42 minutes in and we've only done news.
That's all the news fit to make you say that was news.
This is going well. This is moving along swiftly.
Moving on up.
So our main topic for today, a follow-up to a recent episode we did, and widely requested by viewers and listeners alike.
Creepers, crawlers, people in the cupboard watching us while we record us.
Creepers, crawlers, Jerry Lawlers. I don't know.
Bruisers and brawlers.
Shut up. So we have decided to compile a list each.
Aye.
Of our top 10 New Who.
What?
New Who. Post 2005 Doctor Who stories.
What?
So not episodes.
Because that was a big point of like, wait, so say if it was a 2-part, say if you were doing Aliens of London World War 3, is that it has to be Aliens of London
That's
or
one
World
story.
War 3?
That's one
or
story.
is it? No, it's one story.
It's both.
So if anyone gets pedantic, leave us alone. However, Utopia is fair game because it's technically a episode that leads into a 2-parter.
Yes.
Although it's best enjoyed as a 3-parter, let's be honest.
Okay.
Utopia's great, but
no, I'm with you.
It's its own story that goes into a 2-parter that is... Yeah. But anywho, so we did this for Classic Doctor Who. If you want to check that out, it's episode like 120 summit.
It'll be on.
Look for the Tom Baker thumbnail.
Yes,
there you go.
It's on the list. It's in the Big Damn 2018 playlist. So didn't worry about that.
And it's not too long ago, so you'll be fine. It's good. It's a good like 10.
Yeah, it wasn't long before Christmas, was it?
No sir, no Chosha.
So
a needle pulling thread.
Who talks first? You talk first? I talk first?
Well, what'd you... Oh, God. I'm so glad you went for that and not the your mother joke from the second one. So...
At least you're not destroying Rose action figures on YouTube.
Oh, God, I know. Fucking hell. I was going to say, I proudly have my... And then I realised she's not on the shelf. She's in that box.
No! No, you are Ethan Van Sciver.
No, I just took her down to make room for 3 separate raids.
Why not? Who's going first?
Well, would you like to do honourable mentions first?
No, we'll do them before we get to number 1.
Oh, you dirty minx.
Yes, we'll do them in between number 2 and number 1. Because then we'll get all the surprise ones in there, you see.
Before we begin...
Build the tension, Christopher.
Before we begin, I'm going to say something I've noticed about my series.
Yeah.
About my selections of the series.
Yeah.
Which I'm a little sort of... I don't know how I feel about this.
I'm going to say I've probably done the same thing as you.
We have, in the modern era of Doctor Who so far, we've had 6 new Doctors, specifically 5 eras, like 5 seasons or groups of series for each Doctor. 1 is currently ongoing.
Yes.
If you're not following along, guys, Eccleston, Tennant, Smith, Capaldi, Whittaker, and obviously we got John Hurt in the special. So, that being said, what I tried to do, because here's the thing, you say to me what are your top 10 new Who stories, I'm like, right, okay, technically 13. They're Rose, End of the World, The Unquiet Dead, Aliens in London, World War 3, because I just say series 1. But I've tried to be fair. I've tried to think what episodes across the modern run of Doctor Who, from 2005 onwards, have made me a happy little sausage. So, my top 10, guys, is not just a block of Chris Eccleston episodes. I've tried to be fair. However, I have noticed
there is
in my compiling, and I'm reading over this again right now just to be sure. One Doctor has 1 mention. Another Doctor has 1 mention, and another has but 2. And I find that fascinating in terms of what resonates with me. Now,
yes,
everybody's already preempting. Anybody who's listened to us before can probably guess. This is not a slight to the Doctor, nor necessarily their entire era. But my God, you can kind of see from this top 10 what years of the show grabbed my imagination and captured my heart more. I imagine you have a similar thing going on with your list.
Yes, very similar. I'm going to be interested to see how many of these are similar.
Because the way I put this together is I sat down and I just, like, in a stream of consciousness went, write down the ones that if you could watch them right now, just like, which ones you pick, go for it. And I did, I was like, boom, 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 there's 8. I was thinking of 9, I think of 10. Yeah, cool, alright, I'll put them in an order. There we go. A few honourable mentions, because I thought about that, but I don't love it as much as that one. Da-da-da-da. There we are. And then I looked at it and went, oh, they've only got 1 story on this list. Oh, they've only got 2. Oh, that's really weird.
Oh.
So, yeah, there you go. I think I went second on the last one, so shall I go on first on this one?
Yeah, why not?
Yeah, handsome.
Give it to me.
In number 10.
Yes.
My 10th favourite, and this changes all the time, but this is how we are. 10th favourite, top 10 modern Doctor Who story is Series 3's Utopia. Utopia is episode 11 of Series 3. It's for those who don't remember, Utopia is the story of the TARDIS stops very briefly in Cardiff to refuel on the Rift, and Captain Jack Harkness, running fresh from the last scene of his series Torchwood Season 1 from earlier in the year, legs it and grabs hold of the TARDIS. The TARDIS panics, dematerializes, and gets flung to the far end of the universe to a colony that is stuck in the mountains in their own bases, keeping away from the mutated cannibalistic future kind that live outside.
It's near the end of the universe.
Yeah, they're building a rocket to take them to a utopia, a safe haven, a place that is spoken of and not confirmed to even exist, but it's believed to be out there, and it's their only shot at possibly finding a prosperous new land where they can grow and
survive the end of
everything. And the entire thing's being headed up by a kind sort of elderly scientist played by Derek Jacobi, Sir Derek Jacobi, called Professor Yana, who is like the one in charge, and he's got a bit of a mysterious past. He wants to keep everyone safe. His lab assistant Chantho is Chan helping him out though, and he doesn't have very many memories of his youth. He was found on a beach, and as the story goes on, you sort of get to know him and feel a bit sorry for him and like him. He's really warm and lovely. And then Martha spots a pocket watch in his possession,
which she's got fresh in her mind from a recent story
where the Doctor used the chameleon arc to disguise himself as a human in every possible way, biologically, mentally, everything. And then, as the episode nears its end, after she's drawn attention to it, and Martha points out to the Doctor, this could be, this could be that you were told you were not alone. This could be it. It's another Time Lord. And the Doctor is immediately terrified because he suspects there's only one fucker who could have survived like this by avoiding the Time War.
Yeah.
And we get that. I remember watching the end of this episode go out live.
Oh yeah, I did as well.
I remember that they kept it stum. We knew that John Sim was the main villain of the series at the end, and we knew he was playing a character called Harold Saxon.
Yes.
That's all we knew.
Yes.
And Saxon had been sprinkled throughout, Lazarus Pit in a couple of episodes, like really tie into the idea that someone, the Prime Minister and the people around him, are monitoring Martha's family and the Doctor.
Yeah.
The Doctor's coming and going. We didn't know that it was the Master for sure. There was rumour, but we didn't know for sure.
Yeah.
And when he looks at that pocket watch and you can hear Jacoby's voice being like, "Open me, you fool, open me, receive my majesty." And in the background of that, you can hear this mix of the voices, and it's like, that was Delgado. No. Oh, God. Oh, my God, it's him. And he opens it, and you get... Derek Jacobi playing the Master is one thing. In that brief 4 minutes on screen where he's playing the Master when he reawakens, it's beautiful. Wonderful. But then... we see the Master regenerate, which we've never seen, really. We've seen him survive and move bodies. We've never seen him regenerate. And he regenerates just like the Doctor. And all the young viewers who don't know who this character is immediately get it. Oh, he's like the Doctor.
Yeah.
And he regenerates screaming. It's an odd shot because the effect doesn't quite work, but the imagery's really creepy. Yeah. And then he's Tennant. He's energy. He's loud and bombastic, and he steals the TARDIS and leaves them for dead in the future, where the rocket's gonna fricking leave or explode, or the future kind of battering down the door. The reason Utopia makes it onto my list is because that rush that you get from watching it the first time. The fact that when you run a rewatch, you go, holy shit, like, this is the start of that really big, interesting, weird finale with Scissor Sisters and frickin' shield helicarriers and all that stuff. And the Talk of Fame, which are a wonderfully morbid idea, made even more morbid when you revisit Utopia and you know the fate of all those people, including the little kid that Martha talks to. Chantho's death feels horrible and nasty because she's so sweet.
Like the Master. It's a horrible and nasty thing that the Master would do.
Jack's interactions make you go, oh, I missed him. And he fits right back into this formula. His play off Martha's really kind of like adorable. The flirty nature's really sweet. Yeah. And the fact that they save the character moment for a bit where the two characters are in a position. A lot of modern dramas, Doctor Who's guilty of this, to do the character development thing by having the characters all walk off to one side and say their bits and pieces, and the focus changes to that for a bit, and then they go away and carry on. Yeah. This, they wait for a moment where the characters would have time to talk, and it's when he's in the chamber, like, because he can handle the radiation,
doing his thing,
and the Doctor's at the door, and they finally kind of, after 35 minutes, have the conversation that you as the fan is dying to hear. It's like, right, what's going on? Did the Doctor know he's immortal? Like, and does he know what happened to him, and how's Jack gonna react now he's back with his friend? And it's like, this is great. And the episode ends on something from classic Who that is done masterfully back then, and we were talking about how we miss it in the classic episode, which is the whole episode is a cliffhanger.
It's great.
And it's a great cliffhanger.
It's great.
It's so good.
It's great.
And the thing is, the answer's staring you in the face. You know exactly how they can get out of it. When you see it the next week, you go, of course! Like, freaking vortex manipulator. But in that moment, you're panicking. Because all the stimuli and the music and everything.
It's a real...
It's great.
It's a real doozy.
I love Utopia.
And I will say that it very, very narrowly missed out on my top 10.
Yeah, I mean... I love Sound of Drums, Last of the Time Lords as well. I think it's a really strong finale. Some naff stuff in there.
I don't love it, but it's mostly okay. But it doesn't nothing in those two episodes is as good as anything in Utopia.
Oh yeah. I mean, there's some great stuff. The phone conversation where he's talking to him and he's watching him on the CCTV. Is eerie as hell. The
cabinet room.
The cabinet room being gassed while he's just tapping on the table, really emphasising that insanity. The Scissor Sisters bit at the start of episode,
because of course
the end of the episode, the start of episode 2 is great. Even the Here Come the Drums at the end of episode 1 feels creepy. Like, this Master is so well handled by Davies and Sim. He feels like he feels like the insane master. Like he feels like the Joker master. He's an energy match for Tennant's Doctor.
Yes.
And it works really well. In the same way Delgado perfectly matched Pertwee, Sim perfectly matches Tennant. And
like Michelle Gomez perfectly matches Peter Capaldi. Oh, I wish you could all see Chris's face right now.
I listened to the trailer to the Diary of River Song Series 5 the other day.
Yeah.
The one where every story there's a different master in it. And the very brief snippet of dialogue between Missy and River, I'm like, you know what? That sounds like a more interesting matchup.
Yeah.
And you can tell Capaldi and Gomez had fun. And their chemistry, I think their back and forth in her first story, Dark Water and Death in Heaven, is nice. But then after that, it's just like, I don't get it. What is it?
Yep.
But anyway, yeah. Utopia, cracking, sneaky master story. It's a walking cliffhanger. Future Kind, the fucking teeth look uncomfortable. Oh, the actors didn't bite their tongues. Oh, mince.
Yep. My number 10.
Yeah.
Season 2.
Oh, okay.
Tooth and Claw.
Oh, God, that is a good one.
Because I love period stories. I love period stories that have monsters in them.
Yeah.
And we get Victorian with Queen Victoria.
Yes.
Trapped in an estate in Scotland with a werewolf, ninja monks, and what's not to like? What's not to like? It's great fun.
Hootsmon.
No, don't do that.
Is that the first? That's the first one.
Yeah.
Yeah, because that becomes a trope. Because Martha tries it at one point in series 3.
I think so.
And then Donna does it with Agatha Christie. And
No,
it's just
don't.
so good.
Yeah.
Love that. Oh, where's Martha? Martha uses it in the Shakespeare Code.
They spend
she's
the
like,
whole...
She's like, yeah, forsooth, I... Don't. That's a great recurring bit. Once a series.
Also, well, this episode's got a great recurring bit because it's got Rose and the Doctor trying to one-up each other by getting Queen Victoria to say we are not amused.
Yeah.
It's their relationship. Crystallize. I mean, it sort of gets started in New Earth, but it crystallizes in this episode.
Yeah,
and it's the Rose Doctor interplay which made him so wonderful to watch. Really kicks off in this.
Also, is she wearing the denim dungaree sort of dress thing with the short, curly, wavy hair?
Yes,
I fancied the pants off of her. 16-year-old me was just like, 15-year-old me was just like, oh, Billy Piper, I fancied the hell out of you. It was that short, curly cut. I was just like, God, you're fit.
Yeah, yeah. I love Tooth and Claw. What?
The werewolf. I think it was excellent CGI for the time, and it hasn't aged too badly. It hasn't aged too badly in terms of like if you're box set in series 2 of Doctor Who from 2006, you're like, yeah, I get what the CGI is going to look like.
Yeah. Like,
and you know, it does the job.
There is some dodgy CGI in that. That was still a pre-HD TV production working with a fucking early Doctor Who budget. Like this is a Doctor Who that still wasn't the BBC's biggest thing.
Yeah, it was getting there.
It
blew everyone away, and now was climbing. By series 3, they were spending the money. By series 4, it looked glossy as fuck. Mm-hmm. By the specials, it was at a peak, and then series 5 is when it was like, oh, this looks amazing.
Oh yeah,
and then they kept pouring money at it in series 6, and they started going abroad. That's when the stories didn't get as good.
Yep.
Yeah. That's a great pick. Tooth and Claw's a great pick. That's a great pick. You immediately said it. The first thing I pictured was him licking the walls and tasting the mistletoe in the wood.
It's just it's good.
It's like books. The whole like message is just little things like books, greatest weapons in the universe.
Yeah,
like we're in an armory and things like just like that. Is the monk stuff. The teaser online, the TARDIS-ode.
Yes,
creepy as sin. The TARDIS-ode was you saw the wolf attack that claimed that monk.
Yeah.
Oh my god! Yeah, and then there's the monk who's the one who is the werewolf who's sat in the cage.
Yes.
Oh, that's creepy. Oh, Tooth and Claw's great, and it's the seed that it's the second mention. No, it's the third mention of Torchwood, but it's the first one in series 2.
Yes,
because it's an answer in The Weakest Link in Bad Wolf.
Yes,
and then it's someone says like, should I get Torchwood on the phone during the Christmas invasion, like the military stuff?
Yes,
but that's all. You don't pay attention to it. And then Series 2 obviously is the Torchwood story arc.
Yes.
Foundation thing, and its first thing is in Tooth and Claw, the Torchwood Institute.
Yes.
That's a great pick. Fuck, I haven't put that on my list. Tooth and Claw's great.
I've got excellent taste. What's your number 9,
And one of the
Cocker?
best action figures from the range as well. The werewolf. It's a really good figure.
Yes.
He's not on the shelf at the minute, I'm afraid.
No.
Toby Zed's on the shelf, hidden in that pod.
Oh, of course.
But, because why not?
Why not? Toby Zed.
My number 9. His hair never looked pointier. His shoes were never... His running shoes were never more appropriate, considering this has some of the longest fucking corridors in the show's modern history. And it's one of the few modern episodes that really tackles with the idea of not tampering with history. When it's the one that establishes the rule of there are fixed points and we can't change them. If we do, things will unravel like crazy.
Yes.
It's also the first one to do that in a future setting. The Waters of Mars.
Oh, yes.
Best of the specials, hands down.
Waters of Mars is very, very, very good.
Bowie Base 1. Doctor arrives, realises he's meeting like Earth's first proper big team that are on Mars. And it's like, I can't be here because they die in mysterious circumstances.
Yeah.
And he can't get involved because he knows that their death eventually leads to the granddaughter of oh my god, what's her name? Adelaide Brooke, played by Lindsay Duncan, who's fantastic in it.
Yes. Keep saying these things.
Yeah, he knows that her granddaughter will be inspired by the mysterious circumstances leading to her grandmother's disappearance to study in this field and further the technology and the travel, and eventually be the one who leads the first barrage of people to go out there and colonize. And it begins that chain reaction. He cannot interfere with this, as much as he's geeking out over the fact that he's meeting them. But of course, to them, a random fucking stranger's just appeared the same day that stuff's going wrong with the contaminated water in the filtration system.
Oh, man.
It's the first mention of although not by name, but of the Ice Warriors.
Yes.
And sort of provides a reason as to why maybe they left the Red Planet.
Yep.
Because there is some serious creepy infection going on in the water.
Yep.
There's some creepy ass monster like makeup effects in this.
The flood.
The flood. Yeah, it's a zombie story meets base under siege.
Two great tastes that taste great together.
As opposed to base under Steve.
Base under Steve.
But yeah, it's that thing of they are trapped there, and he knows that he has to get out, and he's fighting against his every instinct to save them.
Yeah. Because
he knows he's not supposed to. You've got an irritating robot who is played for an irritating robot, so it doesn't get irritating.
True.
Gadget. You've got all that stuff. You've got some really nice side characters. You've got Bowie Base's design is wonderful.
Yeah.
And you have the ending that spirals toward the end of the 10th Doctor's thing. The 10th Doctor is a very selfish and egotistical Doctor in places. He's definitely very arrogant, and it finally comes to a head when in this partly out of compassion, but mostly out of self-aggrandization.
Yeah.
I'm going to change this. Time Lords aren't here anymore. What are the rules of time? I'm the only one left. Sod it. I'm going to make up the rules.
Yeah.
I'm going to save their lives. And he does. And history is only just corrected by Adelaide's own actions when she finds out what happens.
Yeah.
She's meant to die. And so she kills herself. And the episode has that wonderful narrative device that it keeps showing the headlines.
Yes.
On like the web pages on like a database.
Yeah.
And they change as the story goes on.
Yeah.
And you realise
I love stuff like that.
She shoots herself. She fucking kills herself at the end of the story. And her death inspires her granddaughter even more. Like it still inspires her.
Yeah.
To find out what happened on Bowie Base 1 and to get out there. Because the mystery is no longer that they all went missing. The mystery is 3 of them came back. How? And they won't talk about what happened. They refuse to talk about it. Well, the 2 survived, refused to talk about it. My grandmother killed herself. What happened? So the exploration still goes on. And in that moment, you realise he hasn't changed a damn thing in a good way, but he's got dangerously close to affecting everything. And then you see Ood Sigma in the snow, and you hear the cloister bell, and you realise something, like, he's going down a path that, like, this is bad. And he realises.
Yeah.
The whole Time Lord Triumphant thing is so well done, and it leads beautifully into his finale.
Yeah.
I love the Wars of Mars.
It's
Creepy. Creepy. I'll never eat a carrot again.
quite.
Because that's how it starts. Eat a bloody carrot. What's your number 9? Squire.
It's the only story from this Doctor on the list.
Ooh.
And it would probably be higher.
Okay.
If not for like the last 2 minutes of the episode.
I know what this is.
Which kind of burn a lot of the goodwill
of the previous 40 odd
minutes.
I know what this is.
It is, of course, Heaven Sent.
12th Doctor story.
Really cool concept.
Yeah, amazingly performed.
He wakes up just outside the... he comes out the TARDIS, wakes up, notices... is the dust there at the start?
Oh, it's not the TARDIS, it's that chamber. Or
yeah.
Yeah.
And he has to go through this gauntlet of challenges while being pursued by this creature that will kill him if it touches him.
Yeah, the dust is there, because it's one of the first things he notices. There's the dust everywhere. Yeah.
As it goes on, you discover, as he discovers, that he keeps doing this.
Yeah.
He's been doing this for years.
Like, millions of years.
So every time he dies, he resets with no memory.
He climbs, like, sheer force of will.
Yeah.
He climbs back to that chamber and resets it. And then bursts into, like, freaking bone and dust.
Yeah.
And then a new one is born.
Yeah.
So the dust in that room is him. Like, something is cleaning house as well, because, like, there are skeletons filling the moat around this castle. So there is a system here. Something is putting him through this and making sure that it continues. Because it wants information. It's an interrogation as a one-man play.
Yeah. It's
and
it the way it plays with the concept and the way it lays it out and lets you discover it slowly as he discovers it is really nice.
Grieving over Clara is very believable, because we all were sort of like, they've killed her and faced the Raven. She's gone. Okay.
Well,
the problem with hindsight is 2020 in it, but in that moment, I remember feeling like, wow, they've committed to this.
But it's pretty much Peter Capaldi for the whole thing.
Yeah.
And he actually gets to really show what he can do.
And there's some great imagery, like punching the diamond wall.
Yeah.
How long he's been there.
Thousands of millions of years does it take to punch through a diamond wall, one punch at a time.
Like, every time his hand breaks.
It's erosion.
Like, yeah, and it's just... And the closer he gets, the more you finally start to see those lights and the windows through the end of the wall, and you're like...
You know it's there.
Oh, God, you know it's there. He knows it's there.
And he's going to get back to it.
It's great.
Just the sheer determination of him.
It's phenomenal. But like you say, the last 2 minutes... What you need to do is the moment he gets to the TARDIS and it's all bright light, end the episode, turn off. Because when he then arrives on Gallifrey, which, again, I believe we all sort of went, oh, we're finally getting here. We're going to tell this story. No, they're not. Nope. He gets to Gallifrey and then tells that boy, like, go tell them I'm here. And then he speaks into the dial and basically says, right, you wanted to know who the hybrid was, which was the whole point of this horrific interrogation, which, for all intents and purposes, murdered him millions of times.
Yes.
The 12th Doctor that comes out of that dial is not necessarily the same 12th Doctor we last saw in the previous episode. But like, because the idea is he's cloned. Like, he's cloned every time. So if you want to get uber technical, the original Doctor's body is gone.
Well, it's also
this is just a clone.
It's also a really neat idea that it's something that the Time Lords could do. Is manipulate time and engineering to that degree that they could just have you tortured like this in a way.
Because they want to know, because it's his confession dial, isn't it? And they want to know. They think he knows what the hybrid is, and his confession dial is there to get that information out of it.
None of that shit ends up being.
Well, he's meant to tell it. That's the point. Was the idea of the confession dial set up earlier in the series that you tell it your biggest sin or your biggest secret before you die, and then it's stored there. And it's like you're passing the burden, and you can go into death, into peace, without ever having to think of it. And also, if someone needs to know that secret, it exists.
It's fucking nonsense.
Bullshitty, ritualistically, what's it? But like, then he whispers into it, and he says, "The hybrid is me." Right, hang on. And then the next episode, forget that. We find out that
let's not.
But
let's not even do it. Let's not even do it.
You spent a billion years not telling it, and then you just told it.
Let's not even do it, because everything that is good about this story is completely divorced for that.
From that 2 minutes.
It could be entire. Imagine if the episode was just him waking up at the start in that room.
Yeah.
And then the episode ends, like you say, when he gets back to the TARDIS. None of the other shit. He's just been trapped in this thing. Maybe there's some extra dialogue like, oh, this is where I was and that's where I was trapped. And it's just, he's on his own and he gets trapped in this thing.
What's the creature called? Did it have a name? It's like the Wraith or something like that. Because
yeah.
that is a creepy ass, like, looking
really
trucker.
Really creepy imagery, really creepy design. The Lake of Skulls. It's just, there's some really cool stuff in it.
Like the clothes, the coat hanging on the fire, like by the fireplace. You're sort of like, what's happening here? Yeah. No, Heaven Sent. Good show.
Heaven Sent. The only Capaldi story in my top 10.
Nice. My number 8.
Your number 8.
Was originally in my honourable mentions, but the more I thought about it, the more I was like, no, do you know what? Hyperbole may have put me off wanting to put this on my list, but it is a damn fine piece of storytelling.
Okay.
Blink. Series 3.
Okay.
Episode 10, I want to see.
Yes.
The reason I put Blink in here is because Blink...
It's really fucking good.
Blink is damn great Doctor Who, but it's damn great not Doctor Who as well. Like, it's just a great bit of sci-fi horror for the family, like, storytelling.
Sci-fi horror for the family. That's something you don't get every day.
Well, it's like Are You Afraid of the Dark or Goosebumps, but on a better budget and told better. In terms of the TV series.
I feel you. I see where you're coming from.
Like, Sally Sparrow is instantly a character we don't forget. Like, we all remember that name. You talk about Doctor Who and someone says, like, oh, Sally Sparrow. You go, oh yeah, Blink!
Sally Sparrow!
Everything comes back to mind.
Great name.
Moffat is sort of guilty later on of creating less than memorable supporting characters in his stories.
Yeah.
And yet in his originals, he creates some of the best.
Yeah.
Renette.
Yes.
River Song. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Like, other characters in that, Dr. Moon, Miss Evangelista, like, you remember these characters. Nancy, especially.
Yes.
Dr. Constantine, like, you remember these characters, and Blink is fucking full of them.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? Kathy, Sally's mate.
Mm-hmm.
You remember Kathy. You definitely remember Billy.
Yep.
Because life is short and you are hot.
It's
you don't forget these characters. They're so well done. And, you know, you feel for them. You get to know them a tiny bit in the few minutes you're with them. And then they're gone.
Yep.
And then sometimes you meet them again. Decades later for them. 5 minutes later for Sally. And you feel bad for what's happened.
It's a story that really leans into the time travel aspect of the show, and it does it really well.
Now, I think it was probably brilliant because he originally wrote it. It was called something like "What Happened on My Summer Holidays" by Sally Sparrow.
Yes,
and it was in the 2006 annual.
Yes,
so it was a Ninth Doctor story, and it was about this young girl who starts to spot in her family like photographs and home videos, messages, and eventually writing under the wallpaper messages from this northern short-haired bloke basically trying to get her attention and point her to something. Yeah. And it leads her to go down to like the nearby woods or whatever and find the TARDIS abandoned. And like I think she has to like put the key in the door or something like that, and it disappears. And then he visits her like a year later and thanks her. Because basically he was thrown from the TARDIS, it was separated from him and he needs to find his way back. And it's like, that's a great idea. And then he took that and went, this is good.
Let's make it a
45-minute episode.
Yeah.
Let's have a bit where she flat out interacts for a 5-minute scene with video footage from the past that knows what she's saying.
Yeah.
And let's throw in a monster. But not just any monster. Oh. These guys have been hyperboled and watered down to death just from their overuse visually and stuff.
Easily the most iconic monster to come out of the modern new series. Yeah,
absolutely. Aside from redesigns of classics, this is it's
the most iconic new monster to come out of this series.
The Weeping Angels debut in Blink and are terrifying without even freaking moving on screen once.
It's a brilliant concept.
It's so good. And just the sound design for it, that sort of scream with an echo that seems to play whenever they've moved, and just little things. It's the little shots in this that are the creepiest, like that one at the very end of the corridor upstairs that's just moved a bit between the shots, and the unfurling mystery, the very, again, like sort of kids book sleuth mystery style thing of finding the Easter eggs in the DVDs. She finds out where the DVDs are published, and you learn about. Oh God, it's great.
Yeah.
It's so good. Yeah, I love Blink. I
Great.
didn't want to put it in there, and then I thought about it. I went, no, it may be obvious, but it's obvious for a reason.
Be true to yourself, Chris.
Aye.
That's all you can ever do.
Aye.
My number 8. Again, there are some things in history that cannot be changed.
Okay.
And if you try, there are consequences.
Oh, shit, okay.
Even if you're doing it to save your dad.
Oh, God, I love it.
Father's Day.
Father's Day is
number 8.
so good.
Rose finally cottons on that it's a time machine and she can go back and save her dad.
Well, meet her dad.
But meet her dad. You never met him. He died when she was a little baby.
And they see the death, and she goes back, and they see it again, and she goes back one more time, and she prevents it.
And everything starts to come apart.
Starting with her relationship with the Doctor.
Yes.
His reaction is so brilliant because he resets to the bloke she met in episode 1.
Yes, because he understands what she's done.
Yeah.
And
all that progression of them up to that point of
yes.
of her reawakening, like the man he is really the man he used to be.
Yeah.
Resets because he's like, no, why the hell did I do this? Why did I trust you?
Shuts him down.
Why did I? And especially because like a week before it had happened as well, with Adam.
Yes. Yes, you
again,
should know
proving
better.
how essential that story is in that mini
Yes.
arc of Adam. It's there to reestablish that, like, what am I doing? I'm better off alone. This is ridiculous. Like, the risk is too big. Yeah, and oh god, hit me. Why? Why is Father's Day on your list? Hit me.
It's got that emotional punch of this woman having to watch the father that she never knew die, and then die again, and then die again. And give it all up. She has to give it all up. She knows that she could have memories in her life and with him, and she has to. And she gets it, and then she has to give it all up. And the fucking Reapers, which are great, cool monster designs.
Like they basically feed at the wounds of time, and cleanse the wound by eating everything and everyone affected by it. But because there's no Time Lords to keep them in check anymore. Because the insinuation is that the Time Lords allow them to exist.
Yep.
But they keep them in check. They keep them at bay. So it's like, something goes wrong, the Time Lords let them eat a few people, like, to clean it, and then go, right, and they step in and they prevent it.
Fix it,
And now the Time Lords aren't there anymore.
So they're just running amok.
They're just running amok, and they're going to keep devouring people. And it starts, like, there, and it spreads.
And it's,
Oh, it's so good!
And it's stuff like, the kids disappearing off the swings at the park.
Yeah.
Little shots like that. The
POV shots, just like the red filter on the lens.
The opening the TARDIS to find it an empty box.
His panic is so brilliant in that moment. Because they start to affect like how time works and stuff. So the TARDIS is now just, at least in that moment, it's now just a police box.
And creepy stuff like the phones. Trying to phone out and it's just the Crick and Watson. Not Crick and Watson. The original Alexander Graham Bell message.
Yes. Yeah. Oh, I forget about that every time.
It's so creepy.
Oh, that's really
because even it's just an innocuous thing. It's just Watson, come here, I need you. But it's that crackly quality to it and the repetition of it that makes it really creepy. The driver just circling down here. So the time is trying to fix itself by putting this driver just in a loop around
the church.
Not even around the church, just on one corner.
Yeah, and he's nowhere near where the accident happened.
No,
but it's time
that's
trying so hard.
Yeah, it has to fix itself.
And Pete's realization
that he's knowing what he has to do
when he realizes that he's not meant to have lived. Oh my god, that's so horrible. When he first realizes it's Rose, it's really sweet. And then when he first starts to cotton on that I'm meant to have died.
Yeah, I'm not supposed to be
like
alive.
Everything you told me about me, is a lot. You fibbed.
Yeah,
because you didn't want me to feel bad about not being there for you, and he takes it that personally as well. Not like you didn't want me to worry about the fact that I was meant to have died. It's you didn't want me to feel bad that I wasn't there for you.
Yeah,
and it's like, oh my god, Camille Kajori's performance in this, and her costume and hair.
No, because you're going back to not the.
It's like 88,
89.
She's 19 in 2005, so 86.
Yeah. She's a little bit older than
I was. 86, 87? Yeah.
86.
Yeah. So, and Rose is a baby in it, so it'll be 86. It'll be 86, 87.
Yeah.
And everyone is very much dressed for a wedding in 86, 87. It looked like my mum and dad's wedding photos.
Yeah.
Oh my god.
Yeah, exactly.
And
I love
the couple, the whole
recent
couple
period
thing,
pieces.
where he's like we're not important. And he's like, don't say that. It's like this right now. This is the most important. Eccleston's interaction with everybody in the church, like he's so pissed off with Rose, and he and Piper play that so well. But he's still reassuring to everyone else as soon as he starts to get a grasp of how he might be able to solve it.
Keeping the
and then when he gets eaten,
yep, the doctor's gone.
It's like, oh my god, what are they going to do?
Yeah,
like, that's so good.
Yeah,
talking to Baby Rose, you're not going to cause the end of the world, are you? Like he's trying to set, like, and you almost feel like, is he just joking with the baby, or is he actually trying to set in her head to remember this moment and to not fuck up?
Yeah,
like.
Yeah, it's just, again, I love it when the show leans into its time travel stuff and plays with it, and this one really does that, and also helps establish rules.
Yes,
that come up time and time and time again, which is important for genre stuff. You need rules. Rules are there to provide consistency, which helps.
Especially helps in something that has such a big scope and a big sandbox to play in.
If you're going to ask the customer, if you're going to ask the audience to suspend their disbelief, you need to set out clear rules of what can and can't happen, so they don't have to. Their brains don't have to work as hard. Like,
it's stuff you don't think about as you watch, and you can focus on the characters and the story in the moment.
And if you think about it too much, it falls apart. Well, then that's not what you want.
Oh god, just that imagery when he puts the key in midair and the TARDIS just starts to appear around it slowly.
Pretty good.
Oh, it's so
Pretty
good.
Fucking good.
It's so good.
Yes, it is.
Oh, I love it.
What's
good pick, man.
Your number 7?
Number 7 was a backdoor pilot for my favourite spin-off. And just fills me with such warm, glowy feelings, whilst also dealing with themes of abandonment and sort of, to a level, Stockholm syndrome and big serious themes like the chips tasting rubbish.
My want to talk about dodgy season 2 CGI?
My series
Let
7.
Me tell
my
you.
number 7 is season 2, episode 3.
School reunion.
School reunion.
Nearly didn't quite make my list, but it nearly did.
School reunion. The reason it made it on is because it fills me with warm fuzzies.
It's a warm fuzzies episode.
It makes me so happy, and again, it's just so well shot. The casting for everybody in it is superb, but it's the returning cast members brackets that really make it. In terms of the immediacy, you get to see what Mickey does when everyone's away, and you get the series without saying it verbally, but you get that acknowledgement of the spin-off media at the time of Mickey running Clyde's old website. Very
good.
You get K9 back, and the series gently mocks him through Mickey
because he's
for
a
being
bit
a
shit.
naff little prop, but then he proves his fucking mettle, and you go, all right,
see what you did there.
Hey. But especially, of course, Liz Sladen returning to the role of Sarah Jane Smith. Because again, this episode, along with the Five Doctors, confirms that K9 and Company is canon, and it happened.
Yeah.
But again, it's that great idea that he left her. As far as she's concerned, he left her.
Yeah.
And she didn't really get to deal with it in the Five Doctors, because the Five Doctors is, oh my god, I've been snatched into this adventure, and oh, here's the old Doctor, what's happening? She didn't get to confront the man who abandoned her.
Yeah.
As far as she's concerned. And she does now. And it's that mix of joy and anger that she plays it with, but she can't stay angry for long because she's such a nice person. And that anger motivated her to do what she presumed he would be doing. And to do that, investigate this weird stuff, delve into it, use her journalistic background and skills. And just the way Anthony Head plays, like, oh, just writing a piece about me. And he's just so slimy.
Anthony Head's great.
He's so good in it. Forget the shooty dog thing. He's just so good in this. He's creepy. Yes, the Krillitane CGI
is dodgy.
I would argue didn't age well then.
No, it looked dodgy when it came out. It looks dodgy
but
now.
Their design is really good.
Yeah, again, another great figure from the character options range.
Yeah, and the idea that the Krillitane adapt by taking the traits of the races they have conquered or planning to conquer. Yeah. So, like, they can look human, because that's how they're going to claim that world and take that world by looking human. The main one, like Anthony Head's character, I can't remember the headmaster's name now, but his character, he chooses that form because he quite likes it, so he stays like that. But he's talking about the last planet they invaded was humanoids with really long necks and things like that. It's just this idea of they just blend in. They're not shapeshifters in the strict, like, we change shape. They're shapeshifters in a more chameleonic sense. They get there and they just adapt to look like the people of that world.
Until they don't.
Until they don't want it. And then they look like big old freaking bats with mugs and little eyebrows. The little scene in the cafe where Sarah confronts the Doctor, and the scene outside where the Doctor basically confesses to Rose why he did it. Like, why he never says it to Sarah Jane, he says it to Rose.
Yeah.
She's like, you're just going to do that to me one day. And he's like, I never age. But I live forever. Imagine watching your friends grow old and die around you. I couldn't do that. And it's so well done, because it's 4 episodes into this new Doctor. Yeah. And he's dealing with a very heavy theme for the character, and you buy that he's the same character we've been watching for 20 odd years. Yeah. For the 27 odd years of material that exists. Like, you buy that he's the same character. The weird rivalry between Rose, who is at this point Space Girlfriend, and Sarah Jane is great, and the way it fades into them bonding over taking the piss out of him is wonderful. Does he still stroke bits of the console? Yeah. Does he talk to it? Yeah, they're just pissing themselves. He looks over and he's like, what? And they just start laughing. It's so good. And the ending feels like a nice bit of closure for Sarah Jane. Yeah. Because he says, I'll see you again. She says, no, don't. Just say it. Just please say it. And he says, goodbye, Sarah Jane Smith, and they have a big old cuddle, and he leaves. And it's like, oh, that's great.
Oh, it makes it, I'm just thinking about it. It's giving me the warm fuzzies.
And then it gave us the Sarah Jane Adventures. It was the backdoor pilot. Russell confessed afterwards that I had an idea to do something like this. I wanted it to be Liz Sladen
because she's the best.
So here's a story I wanted to tell. Here's a show idea I wanted to do. If this story works well, it proves that show needs to exist, and it did, because he then had meetings with Children's BBC and was like, right, I want to do the spin-off, and they went, do it. Give us a pilot, which was Invasion of the Bane, and we'll greenlight a series. But the series was greenlit before the pilot aired, because obviously during the thing you're working on it, the pilot, they went, yeah, no, this works.
This is going to work. This is going to work. Let's do it.
I Love School Reunion. What is your number 7? Sweet Baby Matthew.
We've already talked about this.
Oh!
Waters of Mars.
Hey!
For all the same reasons.
It's pretty damn sweet.
It's fucking great. What do you want me to say? What more can I say about the Waters of Mars that hasn't already been said on this very podcast?
I mean, Bowie Base 1, isn't it?
Yeah. Fuck more do you want from me? It's great. What's next?
It's a damn fine film.
What's your number 6?
Number 6 for me is, I think, my only Series 4 episode on this list. Yeah, okay. It is. In fact, that's something else I noticed. I love Donna, but I don't have many Series 4 stories in this or my honourable mentions. It's Midnight.
Oh, it's fucking already. Have we been recording that long?
No. It's one of the Series 2 and Series 3 established a Dr. Light episode, Little Monsters and Blink.
And it was a combination of like scheduling and budget reasons, wasn't it?
Yeah, Series 4 gave us 2. It gave us a Dr. Light episode and a Companion Light episode. Dr. Light episode's the next one, which is Turn Left, but our Companion Light episode is Midnight. Episode 10, Series 4. My God, it's great. Doctor and Donna literally just go to a spa planet. They're like a tourism spot. Take some time out. She goes and has pedicures and manicures and sauna sessions and massages and goes and has a whale of a time. And the Doctor doesn't want to do that. He's going to go on a tour. He's going to go see like it's the Medusa Cascade, isn't it? Is it that one? Or is it the diamond somethings whatever?
It's the diamonds, because it's the diamonds reflect light so much that if you open the doors of the thing, you'll get vaporized by the refracted light.
Oh no, that's we've got the filters and all the whatsits. Yeah. Because the characters at the end they one pulls her out of the door and so they can burn basically. Yeah. But there is something out there. There's something out there.
But you never see it.
You never see it. But they go on this thing, and it's basically a flight. It's like it's meant to be like 6 hours there and back.
It's like a tour bus. Yeah. But it's a flying tour bus through over a diamond plane that can vaporize you if you haven't got the right shields.
So you go in there. You're basically going to get to the other end. You're going to take photos. You're going to see the sights through the windows, and then you're going to fly back. Yeah. So there's that great bit where like the tech, he downs the tech, and he's like the in-flight system because it's just obnoxious. And he's like, "Oh, I guess we're gonna have to talk to each other. What a shame!" And it's just like this wonderful montage of him getting to know all these people and the cast members. It's a great little ensemble cast for this story.
Spamming a camp. It's great format.
It's wonderful. And then the pilot
Yes.
spots something like a shadow or something that moved
Do they?
outside. Well, yeah, because he says he sees something move.
But no one else does. It's the
Oh, yeah,
uncertainty
yeah.
that makes it so good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then suddenly, one of the characters, Sky, starts acting funny. She starts repeating things that people are saying, like on a delay. And it's brilliant because it's Doctor Who does possession,
Yes.
but not in a big, dark, creepy mansion or anything like that. It's in a bright, white airplane cabin
Yeah.
with a batch of characters that, when introduced to us, are all kind of slightly comedic and you know, they're all exaggerated, sort of like, oh, the stuffy mum and the emo kid and played by Colin Morgan, isn't it? And from Merlin. You know, you've got the professor and his apprentice and all this stuff, and there are all these sort of slightly bumbling, slightly caricaturesque figures, like the flight attendant who's a little bit too kind of annoyed that they're all not doing the protocol stuff she's trained for. Like she's annoyed they're not watching the in-flight entertainment system because like that's her routine. And you know, and the two pilots who come across as really lovely, nice guys, and then the cabin sort of, I think the filter goes up in the cabin, doesn't it? And they get vaporized.
End of the world style.
Yeah, and it's like, oh, okay, she's possessed by something. What is it? And then the passengers, of course, start to get suspicious.
Yeah.
And it becomes like we're going to the Thing territory, where it's the paranoia of you're in on this, like you're one of them, or you knew about this, and then it starts repeating just what he's saying.
Yeah.
Because it realizes that it can use the paranoia.
It's a really smart concept used in a really smart setting.
Because all you figure out over the course of it is that it's using him, and it's taking his knowledge.
Yeah.
Like it as time goes on, and then is disposing of him because he's the threat. It's convincing everyone around him that he's a threat.
Yeah.
And it's the Doctor at his most powerless. Like, he can do nothing to stop what's happening because it's the people he's trying to save who are going to kill him.
Yeah.
It's amazing.
It's a really
so
good.
And it's the closest modern Doctor Who has really gotten to a play. Apart from maybe Heaven Sent.
Yeah.
Like, a story where you could do this on stage.
Yeah.
Like,
Basically.
you could stage this. Yeah. There's no big effect shots. You know, you could just do it that way. The ambiguity of the monster is, like you say, is one of the key things.
Yeah. It's when you set yourself a challenge like that as a writer that you really have to bring your A game. And
Russell brought it.
Oh yeah.
And also the fact he's so unnerved.
Yeah. By
the end, like he doesn't want to talk.
Like
Dinosaur makes a joke and he's just like, no. You're like, oh.
You're always worried when the Doctor is unnerved.
So yeah, Midnight's my number 6. What's your number 6, Squire?
Again, another Doctor who only gets one episode on this list. But what an episode! Because it's also an episode with a classic monster. It is, and it's also kind of it really is the episode, again, Simpsons Tooth and Claw, where this Doctor and companion relationship really kicks into gear and slides into place. Season 5, Victory of the Daleks.
Oh, okay. Now that's going to be a controversial one, I think, to our listeners, because that episode's always sort of seen as a bit of a cop-out.
Well, you're fucking wrong.
Because, hey, we haven't mentioned this yet, but this is opinion.
Yeah.
So it's not wrong, but debate and conversation is welcomed.
I'll tell you why it's great. I'll tell you for how, and I'll tell you for why. Victory of the Daleks. Doctor gets urgent summons from Winston Churchill.
Which is great because it's the series going, oh yeah, this happens a lot.
Yeah,
you've just not seen it yet.
Yeah,
which is a great idea. It's like Winston Churchill not only knows him, has a direct telephone line to the Doctor's TARDIS,
of course,
and knows him that well that he understands he's got a different face this time.
He's just the Brigadier, but World War II.
Yeah. and kind of up for it instead of sort of, here we go again.
He wants to get his hands on the TARDIS so he can win the war. Great.
He's brilliant in this. I know we take the piss when we do like, Doctor, what happened to time? But it's because he's such a wonderfully balanced caricature / performance.
Bill Paterson does another great guest turn as well in this as the Professor.
There's a Professor Sitwell.
Yes.
Yeah, he's really good in this. That entire last bit where him and Amy connect.
Yes.
That's a beautifully written bit of dialogue and performance.
That's what I mean. It's one of the reasons why this is such a great episode. It's like you want someone to understand the Matt Smith era with Amy in a
Paisley boy.
in an episode.
Like, yeah.
Whack it in.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh god, yeah.
This is what you didn't like. That it is a distillation of all the great stuff, and it's a Dalek story, and it's a good Dalek story, and it's the Daleks being creepy because they are posing as British-built robotic drones.
I am your soldier.
Iron
which
sides.
we haven't heard since Evil of the Power of the Daleks.
Yeah.
I am your servant.
And then at the end you get this,
which is nice. It's sort of a modern homage to a story that we can't really see anymore. Although now we've got a version we can watch. Yeah. But yeah,
it's consistency through theme of it. It's Dalek stories are always at their best when they not necessarily reference the history of the Daleks in like a John Peel writing BBC books sort of way, where he's like, I'm going to retcon all of the Dalek stories into one timeline. It's going to make no sense. I don't know if that's what John Peel sounds like. I doubt it. Not John Peel, the DJ. John Peel.
Yeah, I was going to say, like, wait a minute.
Different person.
That was it.
But also, at the end, I mean, you get a Spitfire dogfight with a Dalek ship in space.
Danny Boy
broadsword to Danny Boy.
The Doctor, yeah. Oh my god. That's pretty. Yeah, the visual of that is very cool.
And I also really, really like the new Dalek paradigm. The new Dalek designs that Jamie in this episode, I fucking love them.
I don't hate them, and especially when they chrome them up later.
Yeah,
they look tasty.
And it really,
but it's too late.
Really pisses me off that they never went into. They just chicken out.
Yeah, like we don't know what I think to this day, Mark Gatiss is the only person who knows what the Eternal is.
Yeah.
And again, like it's imposing. And another reason they said the reason for the height of them.
Oh, they're massive.
Yeah, but the reason they're like 6'4", 6'5", is because of their two lead stars.
Yeah, Matt Smith and Karen Gillan are two of the tallest people in the world. It's in the Guinness Book of Records and everything. It's not.
Don't look it up. But it is in there. But don't look it up.
They are tall, but they're not. I remember because I was actually an active user on Gallifrey base back then.
You were an active user?
Yeah.
Oh, on Gallifrey base, right? I got you.
And there were a lot of jokes about Amy's endless legs. It just went on forever.
Infinite legs.
Yeah.
Dimensionally transcendental legs.
Yeah,
they just keep going.
They're a universal constant. She's so tall and long.
But yeah, they were made taller to fit those actors because they thought if we're gonna have Dalek stories going on for the next few years.
I just love the chunkiness of them. Like I'm looking around your office here. We've got 1, 2, 3.
Yeah, there's between that one there and that bit there. There's the paradigm.
7.
There's a couple Asylum versions. There's a Chromey Blue.
There's the stone one.
Yeah, the stone 9, one. Yeah.
10, 11. I can see 11 new paradigm Daleks in this room.
Have I got the stone one? Oh, there it is. Yeah. Yeah.
12 because you got the big fucker.
Yeah, and there's a couple in the living room as well.
I love it. I just love the chunkiness of them.
If you want to see them put to use, the stories aren't necessarily blow your mind, but if you want to see them put to use, there's I'll just double check the names of them. They're here on my shelf. There's The Only Good Dalek.
Oh yeah, I've heard of this. I'm not ready. I've heard of this.
And The Dalek Project, 2 BBC Books original graphic novels, which didn't sell phenomenally well, which is why they then never picked up the Russell T Davies pitch for a graphic novel that he wanted to do during the 11th Doctor's era.
Yep.
Which sucks, because that would have been amazing. But those books, you get to see the drones and the strategists primarily.
Yeah.
You get to see the weapons cache being used, the idea that they have different armaments inside the torso.
Oh, that's cool.
Inside the skirt that then come out of that hatch at the back and swirl
Oh, yeah,
because
it was going to... Yeah, they swivel round on the ring...
Yeah.
The art, yeah.
You never got to see any of this in the show, but the books do delve into it a bit.
I would have loved that.
And I do like the fact that it looked like we were going to get more with them. Like in Asylum, the Supreme is one of those Supremes.
Yes.
And he's being guarded by 2 drones.
Yeah.
And then the rest of them are the Bronze, so it's like, fine, whatever.
Whatevs.
But, you know, like I get people's criticisms, but I agree with you in terms of, like, the story.
Yeah.
The way it is a nod to a previous Dalek tale.
And it's just, it's 45 minutes of good tea. You don't need to know much about the Daleks, if anything. You don't need to know much about the show. It just throws you in.
And it's the first proper nice little setup of the ongoing mystery, where he's like, wait, how do you not know what these are? To Amy, it's like, they invaded your planet not too long ago. How do you not know what they are? And it's the first kind of thing of,
What's going on?
What's happening? And then, of course, that great shot at the end when the TARDIS dematerializes, and on the wall behind where the TARDIS was
is the crack.
Good shout, actually. Yeah, do you know what? As weird as it sounds, I'm glad it's in your top 10. I
glad
like
it's in
that
my
episode
top 10.
getting a bit more love.
Because I like that episode.
Number 5.
This
is the most recent story.
Okay.
On my list.
On your list.
It's also the only one featuring this incarnation. Although I'm going to add an honourable mention, actually, because there's one I've just remembered, and I'm going to add a chuffing honourable mention.
Yeah.
But this is the only story from this Doctor in my top 10, and it's Rosa.
Rosa
from series 11.
Rosa.
Parks.
Yeah, not Rosa Diaz. Sorry.
I loves
Brooklyn
me.
Nine-Nine fans. Beautiful Rosa.
Oh God. I loves me a historical Doctor Who.
Oh yeah,
I really
love a historical.
And they are very few and far between, and they're very few and far between without there being a big elaborate alien CGI beastie in it or something. I get it. You want to hold your young audience's attention. In modern day, that kind of has to be the hook for a historical, your alien interference.
Yeah.
Which is why Rosa was so pleasantly visually low key. Our alien interference to the story was a time traveller who was humanoid and
probably human,
and not a big weird beastie. And that's because Mallory Blackman understood going into writing this episode, this is something so sensitive, culturally, racially, that to trivialize it by doing what you would normally do with a Doctor Who historical would not work. It would be insulting, and it would get rid of the point of what this episode is there to do, which is to educate. It's Doctor Who.
Imagine them doing this with under Stephen Moffat.
You know, I could, but I don't think they'd handle it with.
That's what I mean.
Because he wouldn't have hired Mallory Blackman to write it.
He wrote it himself.
Yeah,
because he thinks he's a genius.
No, genius is the wrong word. Clever. But I think it's to do with Mallory Blackman and her approach.
Yeah,
it's to do with those lead performances.
Yes.
It's one thing I really love, and a cop out for Series 11 to a lot of people is the villains. Like, there's not been really many villains, and the ones that there have been haven't been that interesting. Well, do you know what? I'm fine for that for this, because Krasko to me is the most diabolical villain of the series. And I don't mean that in like a top trumps way. I mean that in a he's the most appropriate villain for the story. Because Krasko's motivation in Rosa is basically racism.
It is racism. It is explicitly racism.
And not even on a like, I want to wipe out humans or I want to wipe out black people. It's, I hate black people.
Yeah.
And this was the first significant movement socially for black people on planet Earth. So I want to set you all back. And he doesn't say it that explicitly. He just says, you need to be put in your place to Ryan.
Yes.
That's all he says.
Yeah.
It's horrible, because when you realise it, you're like, oh God, he's a racist. And then we joke about it. We joked about it on here, like, oh, space racist. Space racist. The wacky adventures of space racist.
Yeah.
But it is horrible. It's just horrible. And people going like, that's stupid. It's like, really? Because that's a monster that exists now. And he's a criminal and a murderer, and he's gotten hold of a vortex. Again, it's Series 11's sort of one dab into continuity, the vortex manipulator, and the mention of the storm cage facility, which is where he was kept, the prison that River Song was kept in. His motivation isn't, I'm going to go back and stop my crimes from being found out, or I'm going to go back and murder more people. It's not even, I'm going to go back and murder Rosa Parks. It's, I'm going to go back and make sure she doesn't end up standing up on that bus and making a point. Making a stand, not standing up. She didn't stand up. That's why it was a stand in the first place. But I'm going to make sure that day doesn't happen.
Yeah.
I want to make sure she's just arrested and that's it, the be all and end all. Or she goes and sits at the back, or she's not on that bus at all. And, like, oh god, I didn't know the Rosa Parks story, like, too well. I knew that it was she fought against the system and it was to do with the segregation on the buses and everything.
Yeah.
And that her fighting against the system started many conversations that eventually led to America starting to reassess what the fuck it was doing.
Mm-hmm.
That's as much as I knew. Doctor Who taught me more about her as a person, her activism, the fact that she was very much somebody fighting for African American rights alongside it all.
Mm-hmm.
Like, it wasn't just a random happenstance that then spun into this. Like, she made that decision knowing where it would get her and using it to further her cause, and it's so admirable. They also don't do too much sci-fi hijinks around it. They don't muddy the waters. They definitely don't make the mistake of making it so that the Doctor and her friends are the reason she does it.
Mm-hmm.
They just make sure that it still happens. So as far as Rose is concerned, that's her day. That's what happens. She makes a decision. It's definitely her agency. We as the viewers know that day almost didn't happen because of this guy, and they make sure it still happens. They don't rob her of her agency or her decision making, which is great. You can be fantastical and interact with historical figures in other stories, but for this, there was a way to handle it.
Mm-hmm.
I like the fact that it didn't shy away from modern racism. I like the fact that it didn't shy away from some choice words on primetime family TV on BBC One. I think it is particularly Tosin Cole's strongest performance in the series. Simply because he's very underplayed as an actor. He plays things very quietly.
I think he gets more material to get his teeth into in Resolution, but yeah.
Oh no, true. But in this, but Series 11, unquote. You know, like it's his quiet anger to what's happening, and his defiance to it on his modern sensibilities. It's Graham working the buses. It's the Steve Jobs joke. It's the Banksy joke.
It really zings.
And it's Jodie's first scene where I went, "There's the Doctor," which is when she goes back to confront him alone.
Yeah,
I really like Rosa. I love her historical, and I think that is near to the best it gets in the modern era.
Yes, but
there is one more I like slightly better. What is your number 5?
Mm-hmm. The only 2-parter on my list.
Oh, mince.
And they come as a pair. Back to season 2 again.
Oh, right. 3 to pick from. I'm intrigued.
And the again, a really solid example of the Rose and Tennant dynamic, which just helped make that show work so well at that time.
Yeah.
As well as some great creepiness and atmosphere and setting. It is...
God, I'm so happy for this.
The Impossible Planet /
the Satan Pit.
I mean, the second episode's called The Satan Pit.
Yeah.
Like, come the fuck on. How can you not love that?
The beast and his army shall rise from the pit to wage war with God.
The Ood. The fucking Ood. Great. An amazing design.
These really... freaking... What's the thing? If you're doing a story dealing with Satan, why not make your aliens look like they've come straight from Lovecraft's notes?
They are fucking brilliant.
And they're gentle.
Yeah, they're not... I
would sympathetic. And then terrifying.
I would say they're horrifying, but in and of themselves, they're not.
Yeah.
They just look cool and weird.
Yeah.
Then they have glowing red eyes. And then they're scary.
Yeah,
because
they're crawling down vents.
Very threatening things.
Then their communication orbs can electrocute you to death. Oh my god, I love this story so much. I love it.
It's just...
so much. Gabriel Wolfe, what a genius decision to cast
voice.
him as the voice of Satan / the Beast. Because you're instantly...
Don't turn around.
You're instantly widening the mythology of the show
by
harking back to something else in a way that doesn't distract. because of course Gabrielle Wolfe was the voice of Sutekh.
Also, if I remember correctly, Pyramids of Mars was my number one classic story, wasn't it?
It was. And of course, Pyramids of Mars, Sutekh is effectively
Satan,
the devil of Egyptian mythology, and of that, you know, that the setup of mythology comes from. They suggest that he is a deity in 1,000 different things, and this, that, and the other. And this just confirms it. We don't know if it's the same character.
But it's doubtful, but yeah.
It's doubtful the same character, but it's definitely cut from the same cloth. Yeah. Maybe it is the same being in a different form.
Yeah.
It's not flat out going, this is the devil. It's, this could be the thing that inspired the devil.
And even the Doctor's unsure.
Yeah.
He's like, I don't know what this is.
It's like, if devil's an Earth myth, why is it trapped inside this fucking planet?
By ancient race. Yeah.
It's Event Horizon. Yeah. It's aliens. It's Base Under Siege.
It's very good.
Fucking hell.
It's very good.
Again, characters you feel sorry for when they get bumped off.
Yeah, it's a two-parter, so the cast gets room to breathe.
Rose and the Doctor having that conversation about he might have to stop travelling. They might have to settle down and get a home. He's like, me with a mortgage. Can you imagine that? Oh god,
sort of hesitance and sadness in him as well.
But at the same time, like he's comforted by the note that if he has to stop now, it's with her, and you can see that Rose is devastated that they might lose this life, but like isn't upset by the notion of maybe settling down and having a home with the Doctor.
Mm-hmm.
And then of course we realise later it's foreshadowing.
Oh yeah. Yeah, as soon as that
foreshadowing
happens.
For something that doesn't happen for another 2.5 seasons.
Yeah,
like,
but it's also,
oh my god,
at that point the writing's on them all. You're like, yeah, they're gonna get torn apart in a heart-wrenching moment.
Because in a series that does put some people off, like Space Boyfriend, Space Girlfriend, we've discussed this before, especially on the podcast 9 is 10. That is so by design, on purpose, because it's a part of his character arc as well as this second series character arc. But this episode is the least sickly that relationship is to folks. Like, it's the least soppy it is.
It doesn't really get.
It's very human,
sickly. Like
no, well, there's moments like the series, like the whole, you know, the way they're bantering and yelling at each other, the big cuddles and all this.
The closest to sickliness it gets is the goodbye at Bad Wolf Bay at the end of Doomsday.
But it's so earned
even that,
because
that's
earned because Rose is our main character, and we as viewers are about to say goodbye to her two series in an era of television where we have characters and we stick with them for like 6-7 years, and it's like, oh god, we're saying bye to Rose already.
Yeah,
and I mean, she's so good in this. He's so good in this.
Yeah,
the actor who plays Toby does an excellent job in this.
What is that actor's name? I'm going to look it up.
He's proper freaky. And just the merging of the voice and the tats. That shot of him, oh my god, outside the base. And Suki sees him and she's like, the fuck? And then she gets, something happens with the airlock. And then the next we see of her is her body floating by the observation dome.
Honestly, the imagery in this
idea that the planet they're on shouldn't still be there.
Yeah. It should be in that black hole.
Because it should be pulled into that black hole.
Yeah.
And then you realise it's not there through sheer force of will of the beast. It's keeping itself from being dragged into oblivion.
Mm-hmm.
And then when they shatter his protections, it gets dragged into oblivion. The bottomless pit, the titular Satan pit, like,
yeah.
And the thing he has, the speech he has about that, about like sometimes you just want to, you see the abyss, you don't know what's in there. But to find out would be incredible.
Uh-huh.
And you just hear that little voice in the back of your head saying, jump. Go. It's, all that stuff is so good. Who wrote that story? Who wrote Impossible Planet Satan Pit?
It wasn't a Moffat, was it?
No, his was Girl in the Fireplace for Series 2.
James Strong. No, not James Strong. Matt Jones.
Matt Jones.
Yeah.
Why did Matt Jones not write again for the show?
Matt Jones. What else did Matt Jones write? He wrote some Torchwood. What else did he write? He wrote a bit of Stan Lee's Lucky Man. You know, he wrote that. He wrote a bit of Dirk Gently. He wrote the 2012 the 2010 miniseries Dirk Gently.
Oh, Stephen Mangum.
Yeah, he wrote that. Or wrote an episode of that. Yeah, but yeah, he only did 2 episodes for Doctor Who. What was the Torchwood one he did? I'm not gonna look it up now, but yeah.
Get him back. Get him back.
Get him on the show again. Yeah.
And the Ood are probably the closest thing to the Weeping Angels to like visually iconic creatures to come out of the modern era of the show.
Yes.
So much so that 2 series later they went, right, let's give the Ood another episode and delve into the reasons behind why they do what they do and why they're fine with it.
It's excellent. It is really
that's
excellent.
a good pick, man.
Again, if you want to get someone hooked on Doctor Who, that's definitely, if you've got an hour and a half, that's one you can show them those 2 episodes.
Oh, God.
It's cracking watching them 4.
You want to talk Base Under Siege? You want to talk claustrophobic, trying to
Yes.
escape a creature that is relentless and will stop at nothing?
Yes.
You want to talk about developing on the classic mythology without overwhelming new viewers, but at the same time servicing the story arc of the story and season you're currently watching?
Yes.
You want to talk about the seminal freaking peak performance of your lead actor throughout the series up to that point? You want to talk about an iconic adaptation of something that was already kind of interesting, but is even better when you move it to visual? You want to talk about reinventing a pop cultural icon, bringing it into the modern day and still surprising viewers and fans of the classic run? You want to talk about
Cold War!
No. You want to talk Ultravox? No, it's 2005's Dalek.
Fuck yeah, it is!
Is my number 4 pick.
Yes!
Dalek is incredible. And again, Rob Sherman, why did he not write for the show again? Holy shit. What an episode.
They definitely moved away from using writers who've done spin-off stuff before, apart from the people who were already really famous.
But think about that, though. We are introduced to the Dalek for the first time, a lot of us. We are reintroduced to the Dalek for the rest. It's a design that has... Let's face it, that is probably the best bit of design the modern series has ever come up with for anything from the mythos of Doctor Who.
Well, redesign.
Because it has lasted so long.
Yeah.
Because it's just perfect. I mean, look at the Bronze Dalek. That, of course, we would like to see something new. The Paradigm nearly gave us that. You know, granted, absolutely, experiment. But that design has stood 14 years of the reboot.
And it's...
The classic Daleks never lasted more than like 4 or 5 years before having a big redesign in some way.
It is quality stuff.
It looks like a tank, but we get to meet the creature inside the tank first.
Mm-hmm.
We get to see a bit of how it feels when it realises there is no mission anymore, as far as it knows, like as far as it is able to thingy.
Yeah.
There is no one to fight alongside. There is no Time Lord enemy to eradicate. What happens when the monster is just this thing in a tank? And it does despair. Before Rose even interacts with it, it does despair. Like, it's, I am alone in the universe.
And the thought of a Dalek having that sort of pathos is unheard of.
It's powerless and discovers that it's the last of its kind. And you get to play off what that means to the Doctor and what that means to both of them as the last of their kind.
Yeah.
I think it's Nick Briggs' finest performance as a Dalek, if that makes any sense. Like, he does great work as the Daleks, and when he gets to play around, like in Resolution or in Stolen Earth Journey's End with characters like that, he excels.
He loves doing that.
He excels in those stories.
He loves getting on with that stuff.
But this is so good, because again, like, Artron Energy, Rose touching the freaking shell of the Dalek is enough for it to basically in that moment be its most Dalek-y. It's just like that moment where it's just like, systems reviving, and it's just like that build of the voice as you suddenly go, oh God,
oh yeah,
it's ready. And that mix of dread and excitement of like, they're screwed, but also we can't wait to see what the modern series is going to do with the Dalek. Let's see. It's the smart decision of going, hey, look at how dangerous one is.
Yeah.
It takes out a whole base of trained military personnel.
Yeah.
You feel for Rose. That bit where the door closes, you're like, she's dead. Like, she is going to die now.
Yeah.
The Doctor's fear and anger and everything, like, he's boiling everything he feels, everything he hates about himself and about what the Daleks did and what the Daleks did to his people. He boils it down and aims it at this one, at first, helpless creature.
Mm-hmm.
The supporting cast, again, fantastic. Van Statten, his secretary. Adam works really well in the story for what it is, because it's that normalcy. It's for Rose to bounce off of somebody who doesn't have all the weight of what her co-star is going to deal with in this story. So it's a smart decision to kind of have that, and everything's fine. It's set in the far off distant future of 2012. But smartly in a billionaire's military / exhibition space underground, so it won't age. When it got to 2012, it didn't look out of place.
No.
Which was great. Unlike other episodes set in 2012, you're destroying a council road with a council axe. I'm reporting you to the council. Dalek is phenomenal, and it's some of the best performances in the show's run ever. In the 50+ years, Dalek is one of its finest episodes, and I would argue if you like rating Dalek stories, it's got to be in your top 2. It has to be, because it is the perfect example. It's the perfect bottling of why those monsters work. And how effective they can be.
And it had such an uphill battle.
Yeah, well, 40 odd years of people like either getting used to them or just knowing them as that weird thing with the funny voice in those clip shows
that can't climb stairs.
Yeah. And it tackles that head on
because nobody watched Remembrance, so
yeah, but it tackles it head on. But I look at it now.
A revelation for that matter.
I look at it now more as a refresher. Like that guy is a refresher to say to people who maybe didn't pay attention. Hey, guess what? It's gonna fucking float up after you and kill you.
This is what the Daleks were about.
That is one of the eeriest line readings in the show. Elevate. And it just starts to hover. It's like, oh god.
Very
Dalek
good.
is amazing, and
it's very, very good.
There's a reason that it is a lot of people's favourite Dalek story. It's my number 4 in my top 10. What about you? What's your number 4? I'm surprised we haven't had that much crossover, really. But that's kind of what's brilliant about this show. It can go anywhere, be anything, do anything. So there's so many to choose from.
But we are definitely going to choose the same sometimes.
Oh, okay.
Because this one's Rosa.
Hey!
Again, my only pick for Jodie's... I mean, she's only got one series. What do you want me to pick? But I really, really enjoyed season 11. I really, really dug it. And
I've always... overall.
Yeah.
But again, when it hit its peaks, it hit its peaks.
Yes. And Rosa was a hell of a peak, as we've already talked about. It uses that sci-fi setting and framing to tell a really human story and a really important story to these times. It's similar to what was I going to say? It's similar to the other episodes that I've mentioned, where it's the episode where the Doctor and companion dynamic shifts into gear. Similar to Tooth and Claw, similar to Victory of the Daleks. It's where that really kicks off. So it's like
Ryan and Graham especially in this one, and Ryan and Yaz's scenes together are wonderfully done. And but the Doctor also acknowledging how capable they are. Yeah, Ryan gets beat in the face early in the story, and yet when he's about to leave into a neighbourhood in a potentially dangerous situation for a young black man in America at that time, he gives them the whole I'll be fine, and you see the Doctor sort of trusts him enough and is okay. She gives them agency. She looks out for them, but she doesn't hold them back if she feels that they can handle themselves.
They've all got spines and backbones and capabilities and skills, and I'm watching. When they all have to watch, they get kicked off the bus.
And Graham's the passenger that
it's wonderful.
She has to deny a seat to.
It's just wonderful, and there was so much I liked about Series 11, and I think it can all be encapsulated by. Again, it's an episode you show someone if you want to get them into Doctor Who. This is what the show can be at its best.
Yeah.
Rosa. Boom.
Especially the people who are like, oh, is it just like Daft Aliens and stuff? It's right.
Not this time.
Sit down and watch this. Yeah.
It's a time travel show.
Hot diggity.
Number 3 for you, Cooker.
Short and sweet. We only spoke about it about 5 minutes ago. My number 3 is the Series 2 two-parter, The Impossible Planet and the Satan Pit. I don't know if there's more that can be said. It's dark, it's scary, visually it's fantastic. It's one of the few episodes to get a playset
Yeah.
Like, I've got it up there. It's the
elevator.
the elevator that they're lowered down in. And
Everyone's got an elevator somewhere.
yeah, but do you know what I mean? It's like one of the few episodes that sort of visually was enough that people went, like, character options even went like, yeah, we have to make things of this story.
Yeah.
It gave us one of the more iconic aliens of the modern series. Tennant and Piper are on top form. The supporting cast are excellent. It's creepy. That ending's creepy as fudge as well.
Yes.
Yeah, I love it. I love it.
I love it.
What's your number 3, Baby Cake?
Again, one we've already talked about.
Really? Oh my god.
I had no compunctions about putting this one on the list due to hyperbole, because I fucking love it.
Blink?
Blink!
Oh, nice!
I think it's great. Again, really encapsulates what the series can do in terms of genre bending, and it's probably the best example of the closest thing you got to a straight up horror story in Doctor Who.
Yeah.
And that harkens to me back to the early Tom Baker stuff of where they were just doing horror stories with time travel, and I love that shit. That is my jam.
It's your jam, son.
Yeah, and I don't mind it when the Doctor's barely in it, because in a way, they're not just the main character of the show. The Doctor is also the framing device to allow you to tell those stories, so it doesn't matter if they're not in it.
Yeah.
Or in it very little, because the story matters at the end of the day. And yeah, Blink's a great example of that. It's Sally Sparrow's story. The Doctor's presence just enables it to happen.
Do you know what else?
And for us to see it.
One thing I'm just randomly remembered about the story that I really like.
What?
The idea that there's forums online on like conspiracy sites where people are trying to figure out who this dude is.
Yeah.
And try and make a complete list of DVDs where he appears.
Yeah.
Because it's the same message, isn't it? It's just been scattered on 17 DVDs and people are trying to figure out, like, why?
Why?
Such a great idea.
Why is this?
God damn it. God damn it. Also, what a great idea for a monster threat. Like,
yes.
and it's a shame, I understand that they diverge from this method in their next story.
Yeah.
And it's used really well in Time of the Angels. Angels Take Manhattan, or whatever it is. Angels in Manhattan, or whatever it is. But, wow, there are 2 stories in the modern era with In Manhattan in the title.
Yes.
How weird. And both take place around the same time.
Manhattan.
Both take place around the same time.
Oh.
How strange. I think the Angels one's a bit
strange.
later, but still. But yeah, just the idea that they don't kill you. They shove you back in time.
Yeah.
And live off the energy of the days you would have lived out. They live off the energy of your potential existence.
It's
what a great idea!
Again,
when Moffat gets fairy tale, it works really well.
When he's good, he's very good, and when he's bad, he's dreadful. When he's bad, he's
well. Speaking of his highlight year and the fairy tale year.
Oh yeah, are we talking your number 2?
My number 2.
Yeah.
Is my favourite historical of the modern run.
Yeah.
It's a simple, daft little story from its sci-fi perspective.
Yeah.
But from its human story, it's fucking wonderful and has one of the best guest performances in the show's run.
Okay.
It has one of the few uses of a pop song within the show, but its use of it makes me cry like a baby in arguably one of the best scenes in the show's history.
Yeah.
It's the Richard Curtis penned 2010 story, Vincent and the Doctor.
Yeah. I'm so...
Even talking about it, I'm starting to feel a little bit wibbly.
I'm a little dissatisfied with myself that this isn't on my top 10, because it is so good. It is one of the high points of the show. I
mean, it has such a great setup. Like, they're literally at the gallery, the French gallery, and they're looking at Van Gogh exhibit. Because like that's their day out that day. That's the Doctor and Amy's day out that day. And in the run of the series, it's great because it's him distracting her with nice fun days out because she's sad and she doesn't know why, and he knows why.
Yes,
because of the events of the Silurian two-parter and what happened to Rory. And that's the only thing in it that stops it being a standalone. There's that very brief bit with him knowing Vincent knowing something's wrong.
Yeah.
And then I think it's at Vincent and the Doctor. Is it the very end of Vincent and the Doctor where she finds the wedding ring? No, that's the next episode, isn't it? I think she finds the wedding ring in his pocket.
I think so.
I'm on to the next one, but it's it's standalone in every other aspect, and like they're just on a day out at the gallery. that was their adventure that day.
Yeah.
They would literally just go in to look at a Van Gogh exhibition.
It's lovely.
What a great idea! And look, Bill Nighy in a little
bow tie,
little cameo. That's kind of fun. And also, I realised afterwards the bow tie thing is Matt Smith, but it also made me laugh. 'Cause it's like Bill Nighy as a professor of art in this case, in a bow tie, which is very similar to the other Bill Nye.
The science guy.
The science guy who wears bow ties and has a very similar look to Bill Nighy's character in this story.
Tony Curran's incredible.
Tony Curran's Vincent is
just
wonderful.
So good.
The notion of it being a creature that he puts into one of his paintings.
Yeah.
And they just spot it and go, right, that's not meant to be there, implying that it hasn't been there before. But that day, the Doctor's noticed it.
Yeah.
Which, again, feeds into the show's thing of time is in flux, things can change.
Things are all over the place.
So they go back to investigate, and it's not a story of them going back to stop an evil alien world-ending threat. It's a story, on the sci-fi level, it's a story of them going back to stop a lost, invisible giant chicken from murdering people.
Yeah. Pretty much.
And then it turns out actually from damaging itself because it's scared and blind and frightened. And that's why it's been left behind. And it's like, oh my god, that's really sweet.
Yeah. And so many monsters in Who, and in a lot of good sci-fi, they're not monsters. They're creatures.
Like there are baddies.
Animals.
There are baddies or there are monsters. And
misunderstood creatures.
Yeah, it's a misunderstood monster. And that's done so well. And again, loose continuity nods with him looking in the present he got from like an uncle or whatever it was, or an auntie, a wedding present or whatever it was.
Yeah.
And he sort of looks into it so it recognises it, scans his face because it's about scanning things.
Yeah.
You get a little printout. You see Hartnell's face starting to come out. Then you start to see the Troughton photo, and they just move on. And you're like, that's cute. That's a cute continuity nod.
I do love good continuity.
But Tony Curran is the reason this works so well. Him and Karen and Matt's interplay. It's wonderful. The way the story deals with depression, the way the story deals with a historical figure who's known to be troubled, but in modern parlance, modern times, not necessarily known to be someone. We all know him as this amazing artist.
Yeah.
That was not his life.
No, he was not
derided
successful
and hated as a village sort of, like the village pest.
Yeah.
And it was because people shunned him in events to do with like his family and stuff, but also because he was depressed. People in that, they didn't get it, or at least they didn't understand it in a way where they would talk and communicate. He was shunned. He was seen as a freak.
Mm-hmm.
And they tell it with such care. And they also don't gloss it. They don't. No. By the end, he still took his own life. He still was troubled. There's the scene where Matt goes to him. The Doctor goes to him, and he can't talk to him because he's just in this rage, this fit of rage and panic in the middle of the episode. And it's like, it goes nowhere. It doesn't take the story anywhere.
Mm-hmm.
But it's like, yeah, life isn't a simple structure, beginning, middle, end. The hero's going to do this, that, the other. It's not like that. And it isn't like that for him. But the notion that they, at least for one day, help him realise that what he does matters, and people will see the world the way he sees it. Just not yet, but don't worry. Like, it isn't for nothing. The freaking scene in the gallery at the end. I can watch that on its own, and I feel, oh god.
I think I need to watch Vincent the Doctor.
Yeah,
and it's not even in my top 10, and I need to watch it. Thank you.
It's the pop song. It's perfectly chosen for that edit.
Yeah.
It's the shots. It's Bill's narration, and the way that's written. It's Tony's performance. Like, oh my god,
it's wonderful. It is wonderful television.
And then the fact that they don't stick with them yet. They leave, and the camera stays with Dr. Black as the character. The camera stays with him for a moment before he sort of tweaks, like, wait a minute. Like, this guy who he spent his life studying and he admires above all else, and he knows his collection inside and out. It's like, didn't even realise he was just fucking talking to him. Yeah. Like, it's so, I love Vincent and the Doctor so much. And it's Series 5 is one of my faves, and I do adore it. I love the fairy tale nature. But that episode is the standout to me from Series 5.
I'm disappointed.
It's the standout story.
I'm disappointed that I couldn't fit more Series 5 in my top 10, but there's just so much
that's all right.
Eccleston and Tennant that I really, really love that I just couldn't make room for it.
Well, in that case, would you like to slap a big fat number 2 position on me?
Yeah. Again, one we've already talked about, one of the highlights of that first Eccleston series, and absolutely vital, I think, in making the show the success it was, and still is. But they had to get this right. They had to get this reintroduction right, or it would not land.
Yeah,
and that's Dalek.
Dude,
like, it had to be.
Yeah,
it had to be as good as it is.
And just think
as
well,
it wouldn't have worked.
For a period of time in the behind the scenes, they weren't allowed to use the Daleks.
No,
that story was going to be about what effectively later they reused the Toclafane.
Yeah,
it was going to be a Dalek fill-in.
Yeah, and
it was more sinister, and that's it. Like, but you're right. Like the gravity of what that episode had to achieve should never be underestimated.
No. They had to make the Daleks, which had become a joke in the last 30, 40 years. Even since the Daleks have first been around, they've always been seen as kind of like cheesy and corny by people who don't like the show, and even by people who do like the show.
Yeah, like
you
part
had
of the fun
to
of
make
them
a threat again.
Part of the fun of them is the stories where they're a bit naff.
Yeah,
Tom Baker recently said in an interview, one of the interviews he's been doing for his book. He said recently, he was asked, I think it was by Emily Cook from DWM on the Doctor YouTube video. She said, "Who the viewer has asked, who are your favourite monsters?" And he said, "The Daleks. Has to be the Daleks because they're so rubbish, aren't they?" And he talks about it from the POV of the Doctor. He doesn't say they're rubbish. He says like they never learn, and that's why he loves them. Like they're so stuck in their way.
Yeah.
That's why he finds them compelling. They never change, and they never listen, and they never assume the Doctor's going to be able to defeat them, and that's why he loves them because they're so stupid. And it's like that's great, but that's him
they're
coming from the
foils.
POV of the Doctor, which I think is really nice. But it's true, like that. There is charm in their naffness, but they can be a threat. They can be scary.
This makes them a threat again. In a
their
big,
initial
bad way.
story, they are scary.
Yeah.
Dalek Invasion of Earth, they are scary.
Not as scary as
probably
how long
not.
that
Probably
fucking
not,
serial goes on for.
Probably
though.
not until Genesis again are they frightening, and even then, that's not because of them. That's because of the growing threat of them.
Power and Evil, I think.
Yeah, oh no, for sure. But I mean, in terms of what we can really absorb. Oh, actually, and I've said it. In Power, very much so.
Evil, I'm not as familiar with, but from what I've seen of it, yeah, definitely.
Yeah. Oh yeah, well, yeah, the fact that they stage a trap specifically for the Doctor.
Yeah.
And the idea of time travel through static and mirrors, and they sort of take the Victoria's dad and everything hostage.
I think that's also the
part of their ploy. Troughton makes them scary in that. In episode 2, I think it is, one of the surviving ones.
Yeah.
When he's talking to them, he's like, they said this thing appeared and from their time machine, and we had to listen to it. And Troughton's sort of like, what did it say? And you can see on his face, he's like, oh fuck.
Yeah.
Like he's realising what it is. And by the time it
good.
appears, he looks frightened, and he's trying to remain stern, but he can't.
Oh man, I should watch from Troughton.
Yeah,
I should watch Resident in the Doctor. But Patrick Troughton.
But they don't feel like a threat again, really, until like Revelation and stuff, where they start to get creepier.
Some of that threat is stymied by the fact that the production values on the show at that point are starting to go down the toilet.
In Resurrection,
yeah.
They feel like a threat just because it's like the highest body count in the show.
That scene when they board the ship and just fucking kill everyone. It's brilliant.
Yeah, but Dalek, like you say, had to grab the pop culture by the lapels.
Yeah,
and go,
say,
hey,
no, look, this is the Daleks.
This is frightening. We're not going to ask you to take it seriously. We're going to ask you to just watch this. Yeah, and just oh god. When it hits the sprinkler system and then uses like an electric shock and kills everyone on that floor in one go. And the first time it swivels.
Yeah.
Fuck me side. And in a way that makes you go, why have they never done that before? That's amazing.
Yeah. It's really smart.
And just the last scene where the humanity's invaded it enough that it understands. It knows it's dying. Or it knows that it can't exist because it just exists to kill.
Yeah.
And it feels that bit so... Because it's the first time you see it proper, this creature.
Yeah.
And you feel sorry for it in that
again,
moment.
That updated design is brilliant.
Oh, God. And again, they've played with it. And that design as a template they've used so well in like Resolution, in Evolution of the Daleks, especially when you see Dalek Sex Mutant. That is hideous.
I think Resolution...
That green big version. It's like, oh, God.
I think Resolution is
Dalek Khan and his broken casing just twitching...
Resolution is similar to this episode in the fact that it kind of had to do a similar thing, not on the same scale.
Yeah, but it had to reinvent.
Daleks had become
it had to reinvent
rogue.
them. Yeah,
yeah, and it did even down to the fact that even down to the updated version of the scene where it just kills everyone.
Yeah. Oh God.
Where just the junk Dalek takes everyone out.
Oh God. Well, shall we hit up some honourable mentions? Quick,
some stuff that didn't make our top 10s.
But we love
we get
so
to
much that we
ones.
considered them.
Yes.
Yeah.
I'm going to just rattle through these nice and quick.
Hit me, baby.
Unquiet Dead.
Yes.
Great, again. Great bottled up distillation of an era of Doctor Who and what the show can be and why it's so great.
That's what they were. Illusions. Callow, a guest turn. Eve Miles.
Oh, of course,
Mr. Sneed.
all the stuff.
Pity the Gelf. Oh God, it's so good.
All the stuff that you've mentioned that I haven't.
I can't return that.
Yes.
I can't forgive the last 2 minutes of Heaven Sent.
Yes.
I'm so glad you can.
Yes, it was a close one. Again, just lovely stuff in season 5. I really like Good Man Goes to War.
Yeah, I've got a huge soft spot for that, actually.
When the show gets epic again.
But that's the problem. It builds up a momentum that's never returned in the second half of Series 6.
Yeah.
But there is something about Good Man Goes to War.
I find it hard.
Oh God, the Captain Runaway bit. The Colonel Runaway.
Yeah.
Like where he gets angry and he's like, I want you to run away because I want them to call you Colonel Runaway. I want children to point and laugh outside of your house for decades to come because that's the home of Colonel Runaway. And it's like, oh my God. But you see the anger behind it because it's sort of like the very kind of silly threat. But then he says like, and if you think, because if you think that ever getting to me through my friends is ever a good idea, and you just sort of see him stop and he's like, oh, I'm angry now. And you see Smith played Bottled Rage so well.
Smith is a very good doctor, and
he's a phenomenal doctor, and I do miss him. I find myself missing him quite a bit.
I'm sad that I couldn't put more of his stories in my shortlist even.
Yeah.
Because after Arthur Darvill and Karen Gillan leave, it just goes to shit.
Even during their run, there's some duds, massive duds. But those three are so enjoyable to watch together.
There's one that I was briefly considering, and that it made it onto my shortlist, and then I was like, no, I can't put this on because it's just not good enough. I like the ideas in it, but it's just not. It doesn't stick the landing. Rebel Flesh, Almost People.
Yeah. It turns a lot of people off, that story. But
I really like it.
I do enjoy, when I re-examined that for Time Team, that I was like, no, there's a lot to like in this.
The concept of it is brilliant, I think, and the idea of the gangers and them just being disposable labour that realise that's what they are. It's a nice biological twist on the whole robot revolution idea.
Yeah.
And I love the design of the sort of. It's those features that then just sort of like liquefy. It ends up looking goofy a bit in execution, but I love the idea of it.
No, the gangers don't look goofy. The freaking child doing the dance is like just his happy dance when he gets happy, and then you see the kid on the hologram message, and he's like, it's just really bad. Yeah. It's like, oh God. Yeah, a bit, like you get the sense, bless him. I hope he had fun and I hope he's happy to be a part of it, but you do get the sense that it wasn't a child actor, it was just like a kid of someone on the crew.
Yes.
It's just really bad.
But
I forgot about that.
So yeah, it's got issues.
The ganger doctor, would you like a jelly baby? And you have that moment of, fan service, but subtle, nice.
Yes.
And the brown shoes thing, and the fact they switch him over, and there's some great stuff in there.
I like that too.
The acid in the environment around them.
Yes.
Oh yeah.
That's the last. Like that and the Good Man Goes to War because they kind of lead into each other.
Well, the problem with that is, again, like Heaven Sent, the last 2 minutes of the Rebel Flesh. Or the Almost People part 2.
Second part,
the Almost People. The final 2 minutes shits all over everything you've just watched because the gangers are people, and then he blows up the Amy one.
Yeah,
you're like, fuck off, show. Yeah. But you know that was a case of that was Moffat's Arkin stuff, and no one put their head down long enough to go, hang on, this contradicts everything we've just spent 2 weeks doing. Yeah. It's so strange.
And it's little things like that I just couldn't put it. I just couldn't justify putting it in. Mummy on the Orient Express.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Again, probably Capaldi's best, along with Heaven Sent. Thin Ice as well nearly went on there.
Thin Ice is fun as well. Again, the villain is just a racist.
Yeah.
That's not his main plot, but he says a racist thing and the Doctor just decks him in the face.
It's a great moment. Fucking great moment.
It's been too PC. If you think that, you're probably a bit racist.
Yeah. I love when the Doctor just goes like, fuck it.
Yeah, well, he spends all things saying like, don't get angry at him. We are we are in a time where they're going to say things to you. You can't react like that. You just can't. And then he can't help himself. It's great.
I really liked Series 11, so I got a few on my shortlist. I nearly put Resolution on there. I nearly put Demons of the Punjab on there.
Yeah.
And I very nearly put The Witchfinders on there. Because that shit is my jam. Fucking witch trials, creeping supernatural stuff, fucking mud zombies, and Alan Cummings. Like,
talking with King James.
Oh, it's so good. It's so wonderful.
It's Christmas.
So that nearly went down though. So that's my nearly list.
My honourable mentions are Army of Ghosts and Doomsday.
Yeah, that was didn't quite make my shortlist, but I was thinking about it
because the opening premise is great, and then the reveal of it being a monster from earlier in the series. It's finding its way to escape the world that story's set on is a cool idea, but then the sphere reveal of what's inside at the end of part one was spine-chilling stuff when it happened.
Yeah.
And then Russell T Davies gives us something that young fans of the show, or fans who have been young at some point of the show, have always wanted to see.
Oh, yeah.
We finally get to see the Daleks and the Cybermen interacting. But not only that, he makes them bitch at each other. And it's some of the... Because it's a bit like, oh, damn!
It's a Yo Mama fight.
But it works so well. It's just like... What's it? Oh, it's the whole like you.
It's not extermination. It's pest control.
Yeah, because it's the build up to that. It's like we number like 1 million Cybermen. How many are you? 4. You would defeat the Cybermen with 4 Daleks. We would defeat the Cybermen with 1 Dalek. You are better in only one respect. What is that? You are better at dying. You declare war. This is not war. This is pest control. It's like,
so good.
Oh my God, Russell, you made them bitches, and I love it.
Good.
I love it so much. And again, the ending payoff is great. If you are invested in Series 2, the ending payoff is really nice.
And how are you not invested in Series 2?
No, but like, for those who are put off by the soppy relationship, like it's all because of Doomsday. It's there to make you think, oh, look at them all happy go. Look. Oh, no, don't tear him apart. No, don't do this. Rose is our main character. What's going on? And then it establishes the thing that the Russell era did phenomenally, which was every series ended with a cliffhanger for Christmas. Which, again, the cliffhanger at the end of Series 2 is great. Just, it's all sad. And hang on, is that sketch comedy actor Catherine Tate? In a gown. The fuck is going on? It was great. Rose, because it brought the series back. It did it beautifully. It's a wonderfully written pilot. It's a fantastic 50 minutes of television. Wilson's dead. It's just got so much pizza.
Does anybody want this champagne?
Oh God, don't think that's going to stop me. And then the man screams on the table behind me. And the best part about and it's a really shrill scream. And the best part about that is, I've not got the book here, it's over there, everything. In the script, Russell writes, the head opens his eyes, don't think that's going to stop me. The man on the table behind screams. It's a brilliant bit of like Russell sort of, no, that's obvious. I'm going to make that slightly different. And that's what was great. We all saw the images of the show going in, and I imagine you, as a fan of the classic run, saw what Eccleston looked like, and you were like, tell me if I'm wrong, but I bet your first instinct when you saw an image of the Ninth Doctor was, is that it?
A little bit.
Yeah. That 45 minutes grabs anybody with any doubt and makes you go, all right, fair enough.
Yeah. This actually makes a lot of sense.
This is him. And again, character art-wise, as the series goes on, you realise, he's trying to blend in. He doesn't want to be acknowledged. Mm-hmm. He's committed double genocide. He doesn't want people to even think about him. Turn Left.
Yes. See, I love me a dark alternate world.
And the fact that it drags the spin-offs into it too.
Yeah.
This episode kills the cast of the Sarah Jane Adventures.
Yeah.
It kills them.
Yeah.
It kills Torchwood.
Yeah.
It provides something which Doctor Who didn't really do very much of within its own canon. It does it with history, but not within its own canon. It gives us what ifs.
Yeah.
Doctor Who, what if? And it's phenomenally done. You find out the effects of the invasions without the Doctor's interference.
It'll go well.
Oh my god, yeah, it's so well done. I love it. I love Turn Left. It's amazing. And again, it's seen as like Utopia, it's a gentle part 1 of 3 technically.
Yeah.
And it's done so well. And again, like it acknowledges my god, it legitimizes the threat of the trickster from Sarah Jane. Mm-hmm. Because when the wedding of Sarah Jane Smith happens, the Doctor confronts the trickster because he confronts him because he's trying to obviously make sure that Sarah Jane's saved and that the day's saved.
Yeah.
That trap doesn't happen. But he's like, I've been after you for a while. I've been trying to find you. You've attacked my friends before, like one of your brigade. And you find out that the fucking Beetle and the woman and everything, they're part of the trickster's grander plan. The plot of Turn Left happens, in terms of what happens to Donna, because of something going on in the spin-off.
Back when we had a Doctor Who expanded universe that was
done
shit.
beautifully, yeah. Back before it was trendy to have expanded universes, they were doing it really well.
Yeah.
And also, it's the actress who's the fortune teller is the same actress who played Chantho in the series 3 finale. So she gets to play out of the makeup, which is something they should do more of.
Yes.
They should use their actors. Like, if they want to reuse an actor, but, we can't have you in it multiple times, give him a monster part.
Yeah.
McKellen was a voice in The Snowmen. Fucking bring him on camera now, please. Yeah. Like, you can do this. Michael Sheen was a voice. Bring him in.
Please do.
The Unquiet Dead, because of course.
Because of course.
The Empty Child and the Doctor Dances makes into my honourable mentions because it's a phenomenal 2-parter. It is, to my money, it is Moffat's finest hour on the show.
We can probably put that whole first series in.
Yeah, it gave nightmares to a generation of kids who discovered Doctor Who that year. Are You My Mummy is now something that people hear and go, ugh. The Christmas Invasion, I'll stand by the fact I think it's the only Christmas special that has really worked. Like, they're all very good in their own ways, apart from Last Christmas and The Return of Dr. Mysterio and most of the Husbands of River Song.
And I don't like A Christmas Carol either.
I like A Christmas Carol, but I'll tell you why.
Or The Doctor and the Widow in the Wardrobe.
I'll tell you why. Oh, well, yeah, that too. Okay, right. There are only a few Christmas specials that work. I like A Christmas Carol because I think A Christmas Carol's the only one. I think A Christmas Carol's the only one that feels like it's a Christmas special.
Oh yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, I get you.
And I kind of like it because of that. I also really like Gambon's performance, Smith's performance, and the music and the use of Catherine Jenkins isn't weird to me. I really enjoyed how they did it. But I can get why people don't like it. Like, I like the fact that it's called A Christmas Carol and you're like, really? And the plot of it is A Christmas Carol simply because the Doctor thinks, oh shit, I'm going to do that. And it works. It's like, fair enough.
I guess.
So, but I like Christmas Carol, but whatever. Runaway Bride is a lot of fun.
Yeah.
Freaking Sarah Parish is the Empress of Arachnos.
Fucking having a whale of a time.
End of Time Part 1, I suppose, counts.
Event television.
Event telly. The Next Doctor, event television. Not the it's definitely the weakest of that run of the Tennant era Christmas specials.
Planet of the Dead.
No, I mean the Christmas specials.
Oh right, well wasn't that the first special?
Next Doctor is the first of the specials, but it was a Christmas.
All right,
Christmas
episode. Okay.
But again, great performance from David Morrissey and some cool ideas in there.
Yes.
Voyage of the Damned. I love that. The more I revisit it, it's got some bad elements. The Jesus metaphor shot of him being lifted by angels is horrendous.
Yes.
But there's some great stuff in there.
Yes, that is.
Namely, the fact that the only survivors out of your supporting characters, aside from Mr. Copper, is the arrogant dick. Like, all the nice people die. It's like, this is kind of different. And Kylie Minogue's great in it. And it's the first appearance of Wilf. Although we don't know he's Wilf yet, but it's Bernard Cribbins. But Christmas Invasion is the only one where I'm like, that's the one that I like revisiting a lot. And it's because it's Rose proving what she's learned over year 1. She's dealing with it.
Yeah.
Harriet Jones defying our expectations and maybe not being the stable person.
Like all politicians.
the Sycorax are a great monster idea. The idea of essentially cheap voodoo putting the world at a standstill.
Yeah.
And when Tennant finally arrives in full throttle for that last 10 minutes, it's glorious.
It is glorious.
It's so nice.
It is.
Who are you? I don't know. Like, it's, oh god. I love Christmas Invasion. I really do. Day of the Doctor gets an honourable mention because it's the night of broadcast. Special. And to be fair, there is a lot to enjoy on revisits.
Yes.
There is a lot in there that works.
But the Five-ish Doctors reboot is the superior anniversary episode. So...
Five-ish Doctors reboot and Adventure in Space and Time are the main cool things we got out of that 50th year.
Yeah.
But Day of the Doctor, and stick Night of the Doctor in the front of it, because why not?
Yeah.
If you've got it on the DVD extras, may as well watch that and then
may
watch
as
the
well.
special.
May as well.
Day of the Doctor's got some really cool stuff in there. And Resolution, because I really enjoyed it. And when I revisited it to show it to Lucy, when I got back, she missed it over the Crimbo period. I really like the body horror and creepy tension of it all.
Yeah.
I think the one-off Dalek is a cool idea.
The junk Dalek is great.
And I hate the fact people are like, is that what they look like now? It's like, no
you didn't watch the fucking episode, did you?
It's bits of a Dalek armor. It's bits of a Dalek armor and scrap metal turned into a Dalek casing. It's a one-off Dalek, and it's for a one-off Dalek, and so far the only animatronic Dalek prop.
Yeah.
Like, for a one-off, pretty damn cool.
Because I can't see him using animatronic Dalek props going forward because it's just so much fucking.
Well, the only reason they did it for this is just because they wanted it to look so hodgepodge.
Yeah.
That it had to be that kind of thin in the middle, and you can't fit a person in that.
No, you cannot.
So, makes sense.
Not even Doug Jones.
Not even Doug Jones.
And
That'd be a tall ass Dalek.
Yeah, he's too expensive anyway.
Right.
Should we get to your number one?
Well, let's break biscuit.
Break the biscuit.
And get to number one. And I think, based on time, because it's quite late, ladies and gentlemen, that we'll have a look at everyone's responses next week. We'll open next week with everyone's emails.
Okay.
Before we get on to next week's main topic.
Yeah, it gives you more time to send them in as well.
Yeah. Which could be a terrible film. We'll see. Anyway. Our number one.
Yes.
For me, the number one Doctor Who story in the modern era of the show. Some are going to call me biased, but fuck it. It's Bad Wolf and the Parting of the Ways, to me.
Okay.
I don't think this is necessarily the best story.
It is not.
Or even the best finale of the modern run.
It is not. But
character stakes.
Yes.
The character arc of what's going on for those individuals.
Yes.
The show being a cultural touchstone at the time of release.
Yes.
Tapping into the pop culture in a way that is very knowing, so it doesn't come across as pandering. It comes across as mocking and loving at the same time.
This is what made the idea of Doctor Who as event television a moment in TV history, a moment that gap before everything went online.
Yeah,
where terrestrial on transmission television was a must of you had to plan your fucking weekend around it.
Yeah,
you had to plan your weekend around when Doctor Who was on because of this two-parter and that cliffhanger at the end of Bat Wolf.
The way that the story opens on such a jovial, oddball.
Yeah, I think for me,
tone that seems a little creepier as it goes on, and then by the end of episode 1, you're like, this is the highest the stakes have been in this show so far.
For me, the game show framing of Bad Wolf,
the game station stuff.
It's a good idea, but it's a little ropey and it hasn't aged well because it's so
fair enough. It is very much a time capsule of that time, but I think for me that works for me as a viewer of this series because I fell in love with it on broadcast.
Yeah.
So because of that, when I see that stuff, and this is why I admit that it's not probably the best finale. It takes me back to watching it and going, holy shit, like Big Brother's on like tomorrow night on Channel 4, and here's a future version of it with Davina's voice. It looks like Big Brother. The Weakest Link is still having new episodes at this point. Holy shit, here's a version of The Weakest Link. This is so strange. And I'm loving it. But not only that, to take a mid-series highlight where an episode proves that screaming pepper pots, one on their own, is a threat that could wipe out the population of planet Earth, and you believe it by the end of the episode.
Yeah.
This episode ends with, oh yeah, that was scary, wasn't it? Now here's 10,000 of them.
Yeah.
Enjoy watching everyone you've just met in part 1 get massacred in part 2.
Yeah.
Because again, it introduces you to characters who may not be likeable, they may not be memorable fully beyond Linda with a Y. But you fear for everyone the moment the Daleks start arriving. That cliffhanger to Bad Wolf, they survived through me. The speculation amongst fans that week was nuts. It's like, is it Dalek Emperor? Is it Davros? Like, what is it? Like, what the hell is that voice? That story's take on the Emperor of the Daleks. The fact that it's become... it's developed a god complex because it survived the Time War.
Yeah.
It believes it was chosen for a higher purpose. And the Daleks become more dangerous for 2 reasons. One, religion. Like, they begin to worship the Emperor Dalek and obey its word. So it's no longer the Dalek mission in general. It's them obeying him.
It's a holy war. It's crusade at this point.
Yeah, that's terrifying. But also, they're not all Dalek mutants.
Well, they are, but they don't. That's not where they came from.
For a good, like... I think this establishes like 100 years between...
A long time, yeah.
Between the events of Long... I think it's 500 years between the events of Long Game and Bad Wolf.
Yeah. For
Satellite 5, which becomes the game station.
Yeah.
Which is, again, a great idea. They use the threads of the series to help sew this story.
Yeah.
In a narrative that works on its own, but is a beautiful payoff if you're stuck with all 13 episodes. The game station has been... Like, contestants get supposedly killed. And Earth has just got used to that. They're like, yeah, that's fine. Yeah, it's okay. Which is, again, a frightening modern thing that does happen. We get used to things. We go, yeah, that's normal. And there's a reason why a bunch of politicians and journalists and anchors and comedians in the States keep saying, call out everything Trump does. It's because they know if you don't, eventually you're just going to go, oh, well, there he is again.
Yeah.
And it'll just be normal. It's not normal. It shouldn't be seen as normal. In this universe, people have just got used to the idea that, oh yeah, if you're on a game show and you get it wrong, you die. And the only people who seem spooked by that are the people in it, because they're finally in it, and they're like, oh god. Watching it, they don't give a fuck. They enjoy it. They eat that shit up. It's gross and frightening on its own. But then you find out the people that have died haven't been died, they've been transmatted to a facility where they are mutated and tortured and turned into new Dalek mutants.
Oh, not even that. The Dalek Emperor implies that they just get mulched and used as raw... biomaterial for growing new Dalek mutants.
Yeah. And that we're at that point now where it's not the mutated people of Skaro anymore. It's them spreading, like, well, we're going to make more of us.
But it's just...
We are imperfect, but we hate everything else around us, so we need to be us.
Yeah.
That's terrifying. And, oh god, it's just the design of the ship with the Emperor in it.
The design of the Emperor?
Jack's goodbye when he knows he's probably not going to survive.
Yeah.
And 2 of the finest performances from Chris and Billy in that series are in these episodes. For Billy, it's when she's back on Earth and she's in... Again, we're in the finale. And it's that beautiful idea of time travel as a device. Like, she's like, I'm stuck here and he's out there and he's going to die. And they're like, it's millions of years in the future. She's like, no, it's happening now. It's happening right now. Like, he's taught me a way of life that I didn't understand, but it makes sense. He teaches you a better way of living your life, not because of the journey, not because of the travels, just how you exist, how you interact, how you learn, how you be. And it's not fair. But the fact that he sends her and the TARDIS off for her to be home and for the TARDIS to just gather dust on a street corner because it'll save her life. And he's about to, the Delta Wave, he's about to relive his greatest sin. He's about to kill the Daleks and possibly then planet Earth to get rid of the Daleks. And then he can't bring himself to do it because he can't do it again. Of course he can't. And he's saved by Deus Ex Bad Wolf in her. But on purpose. Again, threads from the series. We learn about the heart of the TARDIS from Boomtown. We know that, like, we know what Rose is like as a person. We then learn very quickly, she's going to die now.
Yeah.
And because she relieves him of the burden of having to commit that atrocity one more time.
Yeah.
He sacrifices himself to make sure she sees it past this day. And that kiss is a kiss of it's not a lustful kiss, it's not there's a romance element to it.
Yeah.
But it's not a kiss of like, kiss me, baby. Like, it's not that. It's a thank you. And he takes on the burden knowing he's now going to die. But it's because she deserves to live. She has saved his life.
Yeah.
She's also saved the life of everybody on the planet and everyone in the game stage. But she saved his life. And he has to thank her for that. And fucking then, we get the 2 scenes that give me chills. Well, 3. There's the one in the cafe with Rose, Jackie and Mickey. Which again, in the middle of this big finale, we just cut back to that. We're back to normalcy. And suddenly it looks so drab. Like, do you know what I mean? There's no pacing and excitement like at the start of Rose where, yeah, she's fed up, but here's her day-to-day. She's here, she's doing this. Like, life's all hectic. And
it's a grey life.
It's grey. And it's just, oh my God. But there's the cliffhanger episode 1 where he uses a Big Brother catchphrase in a way that isn't corny or cheesy at all. It's full of fucking hope. It's great.
It's a little corny. But it's great. It's a little corny.
It's great because it's not a catchphrase that makes you go, oh, Big Brother. It's just you know it is if you know Big Brother.
It works.
It's a bookend to the episode.
It
and it also ends the game station element in episode 1. Although you get the android popping up briefly, shooting a Dalek to pieces in episode 2.
Yeah,
so
that's
they rejig
right.
it, which is quite cool. You are because like goodbye, blow up a Dalek, weird. But it's his no, like explain this negative, like that speech. Because it's what I'm gonna do. It's like I'm gonna say I'm gonna fly into the Dalek fleet. I'm gonna save Rose Tyler, and then just to finish off, I'm gonna wipe every last stinking Dalek out of the sky. But you have no plans. No, is it no weapon?
Yeah.
No, whatever. No plan. He's like, yeah. Doesn't that just scare you to death? And you see them notably being a bit unnerved by it. Noticeably being unnerved. And then his regeneration scene.
Yeah.
Christ, I love it. If the show had not been renewed, that still would be an amazing scene to end on.
Yeah.
And it would have been a wonderful what if. Like, oh, David Tennant. Isn't he that lad from Casanova? That would have been good.
Yeah.
But that regeneration scene is excellent. And it's one of the few regenerations where he dies with a smile. He dies positively. He accepts it. Third Doctor dies unplanned, but he does it he sacrifices himself intentionally for the right thing and the whole stuff with the spider.
And that's
everything.
partly his personality.
And his last words are trying to comfort Sarah Jane, and he passes away before he can finish it. But he dies in a positive way.
Yeah.
And it's really nice, and it makes that one stand out. The Fourth Doctor sort of comes to terms with his death as it's happening.
Yeah.
And he sort of does a similar thing. The Ninth Doctor is the warmest to me.
Yeah.
Because he basically thanks her and then tries to prepare her as best as he can in this moment of sort of delirium and happiness and acceptance. He tries to explain to her as best he can what's about to happen.
And it's an inexplicable thing. How do you explain it? Yeah.
Yeah. I might have 2 ends. I might have no head. Imagine me with no head. Don't say that's an improvement. And it's just like, it's so sweet because, again, as a classic viewer, you're going, oh God, like, I can't wait. But at the same time, I'm really sad because I really like him and he's so happy now. Like, he's found himself. And just Tennant's first moments, it's glorious. I love that. That's my favourite New Who story. Bad Wolf and Pine in the Ways.
Nice.
It gives me chills. And, you know, Elaine from Tracy Beaker. Matthew Watson.
Yes.
King.
Yes.
Of the Nine Realms.
Yes.
Heir to the throne of Jotunheim.
Yes. All these things.
Snooker player.
More. No.
Porn star.
Never that.
Snooker porn star player.
Possibly.
Pimp.
No.
What is your number one modern Doctor Who story?
Well, I can't go into as much. I can't go into as much detail with this story as you did about Bad Wolf and Pine in the Ways. Partly because you've already mentioned it.
Fuck! I'm looking down my list and trying to figure it out. Holy shit!
It's takes my love of horror, of situations with conflicting personalities in enclosed spaces and the frictions that causes. It takes simple character work and it turns it into a riveting episode of television with a great premise, and it doesn't talk down to you. It doesn't over-explain things. It leaves things ambiguous enough to the point where you don't know if you're satisfied by the ending. You're just glad that the characters you care about are out there. It's Midnight.
Oh my god. You know what? I am delighted to learn this. Midnight is your favourite episode of Modern Doctor Who?
Yeah. Because
Dude.
it's so tight.
And
it's the ambiguity of what the creature is. And even what it wants. Like, you know it wants to get rid of the Doctor so it can
survive, but what does it want next?
Yeah, you don't know what it wants after that. What's it going to do?
And you know it's malevolent. Like, you know it starts to sort of enjoy...
It's cruel.
Yeah.
It is cruel. But you don't know what it... There's no info dump. There's legends of a thing that lives in the things and that takes your fucking... No, it just happens.
Everything we need to learn about it is told through Leslie Sharp's face.
Yes.
And mannerisms.
Yes.
That's all we know about it.
She's incredible in
She's
this.
great in it. Oh, God.
It's a hell of an episode of TV. It is just wonderful.
Can you imagine what the rehearsals must have been like, trying to nail that speech pattern?
I imagine they would have been a joy to watch.
Yeah.
Fucking excruciating to actually rehearse.
Yeah.
But because, like you say, it's a play.
Yeah. It is sold by the actors, not by the visual effects or the soundtrack per se. Obviously, all these things play into it, set design and everything, but it's completely sold by its performers.
Yeah, what's riveting about it is the paranoia it induces and that feeling of unease. And that's one of the things I like so much about like genre TV, be it sci-fi or fantasy with a horror bent. Or even straight up horror. It's that feeling of unease, that something's wrong, that you can't quite get your foot in. There's just something about this situation which isn't right. And I can't... And you come out of it, and even though you're fine, you don't know if you'll ever be right again, because you everything's just been so shaken. Of course, the show being the show, it doesn't have that effect on the characters going forward. He's shaking it off. Never mind next time you see him. But it's an ongoing serial show. But when you take those stories as standalones, until they're in isolation, the survivor of a situation like that, or the survivors, if there are any, is never really going to be okay again because of what they've just had to go through. So it's all the other characters that go through that are just broken forever by what they've had to go through. And it's... I mean,
Christ, the day is literally saved because at the last second the stewardess makes the call.
She sacrifices herself.
Because she knows, it's like she starts to see the way he's acting, and it's like, it's done something to him.
It's selflessness.
It's definitely that. It's not him, it's her.
It's
like,
the selflessness and strength of character that he inspires in other characters.
Yeah.
That is also one of the most brilliant aspects of the Doctor as a character. What they can do for the people that they encounter, how they can help them elevate themselves above the ordinary, the mediocre. They bring out the exceptional parts of a person's personality.
But then even sort of the tragedy around that, I'm just looking at the cast list. The hostess is played by Reiki Ayola. And in the thing, her character is literally called Hostess.
Does it get a name?
Because that's the thing, in the episode they make the point of someone saying, does anyone know her name?
Nobody knows her name.
And it's just like...
Nameless.
Oh my god! It's so morbid! I love it. I love it. I love it. I'm so delighted that's your number one. I really am.
Midnight is fucking great.
Oh, some good telly. Fuck. Well, some of you have already been in touch.
Yep.
But as I say, we're going to save it for next
Got a couple
week.
of emails. We'll open up next week with some of your new Who top 10s,
which gives you time if you haven't written yours yet and you want to send them in.
Yes,
so,
we've got a couple. So, but get them in. We'll do a bunch of them next episode.
BigDamnContact@gmail.com. That's BigDamnContact@gmail.com.
Yes.
Nil forget us on Twitter @BigDamnCast. You can catch Adventures in Backlogging live and archived, not just on YouTube, but live on Twitch.
Live on Twitch,
twitch.tv/BigDamnStream.
By the time you are hearing or watching this, I will have started Aliens Colonial Marines.
Yeah, you'll have finished Yakuza, yeah.
Thank you. I've finished Yakuza already.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's done.
My God.
As of recording this, so that's already up and live as we're recording this. But
Aliens Colonial Marines.
Aliens Colonial Marines tomorrow morning for me. Ooh.
You poor man. You poor man. You poor man.
We're gonna find out exactly what that's like. So yeah, I'll see you then.
See y'all then, team.
And we'll see you next week.
You'll
hear us next week.
Well, there is that, I suppose. That's how this works. It's a podcast.
It's a podcast.
How do I turn this off? It's working.
Broken.